You put on silence, you're...
Yeah, I did, and now you're going to freak me out. So
Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning from wherever you are around the world. Thank you very much for joining us for this event today, which is focusing on the use of technology, the importance of technology in preventing and handling cases of missing and exploited children in Greece and across the globe. We're extremely honored and happy to have CEO President of National Center for Missing and Exploited Children of the US with us, Michelle Delon, in her first visit to Greece. And we're extremely excited to have her with us and extremely happy to have a very rich panel of important experts and speakers from different countries to share their best practices and experiences on this issue. To not delay us, because we have a long and rich program ahead of us, I would like to start by welcoming the President of the Smile of the Child, Mr. Kostas Yiannopoulos. Mr. Kostas Yiannopoulos began this journey of the Smile of the Child 28 years ago when his younger son, Andreas, he was 10 at the time, was diagnosed with cancer. This was 1995. And he left his business, Mr. Yiannopoulos, in order to help his son fight the battle for his life and make his wish come true. Sensitive and caring, Andreas dreamed of an organization whose mission would be to support children around Greece and all over the world who may be in danger or have any need. He believed that every child deserved a smile, and this is the reason why, soon after he passed away, the organization that was created was named the Smile of the Child. Mr. Kostas Yiannopoulos has been dedicated to making his son's wish come true for the last 28 years, 24/7 working on the front line. Among others, Mr. Yiannopoulos is president of the board of directors of the European Anti-Bullying Network since 2012, while he also served for several years on the board of directors of the International Center for Missing and Exploited Children. In 2014, he was awarded the European Citizens Prize by the European Parliament for the outstanding contribution of the organization to the protection of children's rights. And in 2021, he was awarded an honorary doctorate at the Department of Education and Social Work of the University of Patras here in Greece by that same department in honor of his 27 years of uninterrupted and substantial contribution to any child in need or at risk. I would like now to give the floor to our president, Mr. Yiannopoulos, to make a welcome.
Thank you, Piggy. It's important. You called me the president. I am the president, but at the same time, all these nice things. Thank you very much. But to make it simple, an idea, a vision of the little boy came true through his diary. It was his last wish. So we had to, just a minute. Okay. So this is Andreas. This is his diary. This is his last wish. So not only inspired, but we felt obliged to continue his vision. This is the power behind the Smile of the Child. But at the same time, the power of our organization is the cooperation. I'm very happy that we have here Michelle. Will you allow me to call you Michelle? The president of the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. The organization, for me, it's giving the world ideas, technology, work, collaboration. And thanks to NCMEC, we have all these tools, we have all this possibility, and then one brought the other and we continued. As you can see, we work hand in hand with the ministries here in Greece, with armed forces, we work together on a missing area, with security forces, police, fire brigade, and Coast Guard, and other competent bodies like ambulance service, civil protection, etc. Also with the regional authorities. This is how we can work together with the bodies, with the government bodies, to make our work feasible, like, instead of making wishes. We say in Greece that apart from wishing, you can do something about it and work for this. we wouldn't be able to do anything in this country as an organization if we didn't have this collaboration with so many different important organizations in the world. I won't mention one by one, but not only organizations, but also companies like Meta, like ISPECAM, etc. Because of this collaboration, the continuous collaboration, we have the possibility to have technology, information, academic knowledge, and our people, our professionals, and our volunteers to have a knowledge to whatever we do that is covered by professionalism rather than philanthropy, which is okay to have philanthropy, but it's not enough for the children. We have 10 action centers, and each center has a different action. So it's the Smile of the Child as an umbrella, but it's a National Center for Abuse and Exploitation, Center for Violence and Bullying, Center for Vulnerable. I have to speak slower because of our interpreters, okay? Helplines and Hotline Center, Center for Health Services, care homes for children that we raise or we try to support them with their families, National Center for Missing Children and Adults, Center for Internet Safety, Academy for Education and Training, Smile Academy, and Center for Crisis Management. Although here we have to separate the idea because there are some centers around the world. I think some time ago that we had to count them. There were four centers around the globe. The most important in our, how can I say it in English? Okay, how can you say it in English that it's like a mother in a family, it's a mother and a father. National Center for Missing Exploited Children in the States, it's our umbrella, it's our inspiration, and it's important. So I stop here because I can continue talking for hours, but instead...
Thank you very much. Thank you very much to Mr. Yiannopoulos for the short introductory welcome to this event. And now I would like to move to our second welcome by Michelle Delon, President and CEO of NCMEC. Since she began her career at NCMEC 2 decades ago, Michelle has held numerous positions, most recently serving 8 years as its Chief Operating Officer. Under her leadership, new programs have been implemented to better serve these vulnerable populations, including a child sex trafficking recovery planning team and NCMEC's Child Victim Identification Program, which has contributed to the identification and rescue of thousands of children from sexually abusive situations. Emphasizing the human element, Michelle has championed a reignited focus on the importance of survivor-informed responses, where those with lived experience provide valuable input into NCMEC programs. She's helped establish multiple survivor expert working groups to amplify the voices of those impacted by these crimes and inspire change in the world. Embracing new technology has transformed NCMEC and its impact. Michelle created the first ever data science program as a discipline at NCMEC. Data mining allows NCMEC to provide timely, meaningful information to better protect children. Last but not least, important to note that Michelle is the first woman to lead the nonprofit organization since it's opened its doors in 1984, marking 40 years this year of NCMEC's important work. So I would like to give the floor to Michelle for her to make a welcome.
Thank you, Michelle. And thank you, Kostas, for this opportunity to be here today. As the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children in the United States, it's an honor to be here. We have a very long partnership for many years, and we do have shared legacy, which we'll touch on a little bit later. But I had the pleasure to spend the day learning more and seeing firsthand the Smile of the Child and the services that you operate. And absolutely remarkable what you have done for the children of Greece. what you have done in a relatively short period of time since 1995. The services, the breadth of the services that you provide to the communities, children and adults here in Greece is admirable and well respected. So thank you for all that you do for children everywhere, and for bringing us here today with so many esteemed speakers who, as I look at the agenda, we have many partners who are going to be speaking, and I know many listeners who are here to learn about the best practices that we really need to share amongst the organizations, private sector, NGOs, government, to be able to do more for the children. Really, in the spirit of what our organization has been historically, certainly with the Smile of the Child and many of our other partners, we need to be sharing, we need to be collaborating. There are so many people who are counting on us, so many children who need help, that where one succeeds, where we build a technology, where we have a best practice, to be able to share that with one another, because the impact moving forward beyond just our own communities, beyond just our own country, can't be overestimated. I'm really excited to hear many of the presentations, all of the presentations today, from many partners and many groups that we have yet to meet who are bringing so much to the table. So partnership, collaboration, this is a wonderful opportunity to participate, and I thank you for hosting us.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Michelle. Dear listeners and audience, before we move into the part on the presentations, I would like to give the floor now to Mr. Yiannopoulos again, who will present a special award to Michelle in expression of our appreciation for everything that NCMEC has done for children in Greece and globally.
Well, this is not an ordinary award. This comes from our heart. That's why we name it Andreas Yiannopoulos. It's important because it's the soul of our organization. Mm-hmm. And we don't give it to anybody, to everybody. We give it to some special and important people that they put their efforts and the soul and the heart for the benefit and for the support of the children worldwide. So, Michelle, I'm very honored and very happy to give you this little statute which says the smile of the child here. Thanking you for what you're doing and also representing the most important organization in the world and all the people behind this and working hand in hand worldwide, and also for the Smile of the Child, for our organization, not only the world, in our small country. And we give it with a lot of love and wishing that you continue, you'll be able to do your work for the years to come. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and there's nothing small about this. This is incredibly meaningful, and you know, I just happen to be sitting in the seat. It's an honor for me to lead the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, and on behalf of all of the people who work at NCMEC and all of the stakeholders and the people that we serve, we thank you. And thank you for creating this legacy for your son and for turning his memory into a life-saving program of work. So on behalf of everyone at NCMEC, thank you for your partnership.
Be well. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. So with no further
Just to
ado,
say something human, we are a little bit shaky.
Yes,
we're
it gets emotional.
And difficult, you know, when we talk about these sensitive issues. So please, for me at least, you know, we can see that I'm trying to make senses. I hope I make sense, but let's share. It's an international family that we share together our efforts. So let's not be so you know, formal. Okay. Okay.
Here it goes.
Okay.
Yes, we all feel like that, and I'm sure our audience can understand and can sense it through the screens. We will now move into our presentations. I will make the first presentation on behalf of the Smile of the Child, focusing on the best practices that we have with the use of technology for supporting both missing and exploited children. So our president made the introductory remarks, so I can skip them and just delve straight into the issue. Now, we're going to share here today 10 best practices in the field of missing, always speaking of technology, and 3 best practices with technology in the field of exploited children. There are more, but we decided to highlight these today. So, okay, because we flipped it over. Now, as Mr. Yiannopoulos explained, the National Center for Missing Children and Adults in Greece, that the Smile of a Child operates, is one of our 10 centers. So it's one of our many actions. And speaking of this center, what we reflect here in this first slide is the number of children as well as adults, because as of 2020 we started supporting also missing adults aged 18 to 60. This slide shows how many we have assisted over the years. So over 28 years, we have assisted 2,196 children and 462 adults, missing children, missing adults. And in total, over the years, we have received 116,747 calls at the European hotline for missing children, 116,000. It is the common European number for missing children, operating in nearly all European countries. Now in 2023 alone, we stood next to 186 missing children and 160 adults, while we received 8,354 calls at our European hotline. So this shows a little bit the magnitude and the scope of the issue in Greece. Now, how do we do this? Best practice number 1. We have efficient call center solutions, ensuring the prompt response at the hotlines for missing persons, including children and adults. We have a phone center, a phone center, operating in different locations. The central one is here in Athens. 2 other main ones are in Thessaloniki in northern Greece and Patra, but also in many other locations across Greece where the Smile of a Child has centers of direct intervention. The maximum waiting time, and we're extremely proud of this, is 8 to 10 seconds. So that's how long the maximum time someone has to wait for us to answer the call when it concerns a missing person. The staff that respond to these calls are psychologists and social workers. They work 24/7, 365 days a year, around the clock, professional, trained staff. We receive calls for free, anonymously, and we're extremely proud to say that our numbers, our lines, are connected, and we're the only ones to have succeeded in doing this, are connected with the European emergency number. Most European citizens know this number, 112, operated here in Greece by the General Secretariat for Civil Protection. So the calling center and our lines are the very first and basic tool, technological tool that we have to be able to operate on the issue of missing persons, children and adults, of course. In 2008, we began running the 116,000 Common European Hotline for Missing Children. And then in 2020, we began running the 1017 National Hotline for Missing Adults aged 18 to 60. The Smile of a Child also operates other lines. We have 4 numbers in total, but they're all ranging in the same calling center, so it does not matter which number someone remembers or knows. If they call, we answer and we respond. So that is the first best practice of technology, and it's provided by Cisco, and you will hear from the CEO of Cisco following this presentation. I will now move to the second best practice, and this is one that we're also very proud of. It is a key technological tool. It's called the European Missing Alert Automated System that we developed just last year. It succeeded a previous system that we had, that we developed many, many years ago in 2010 in the framework of a European project called ECAS. It was the Child Alert Automated System. This is a system that that facilitates and enables the super fast dissemination of the information regarding a missing person to all the participating members and agencies. As you see here on the slide, it only takes 12 minutes. So the operators in our hotline will insert the information, and the system will automatically produce it, reproduce it, and put it in the form that each participating partner and agency needs in order to publicize it. So this was initiated last year in 2023. I'll continue saying a few more words about EMAS. Now, back in 2007, we had 40 members participating in the dissemination program. So we were disseminating information to 40 agencies and institutions. Today, we're very proud to say that we have 160 members participating in the system. This means that 160 members, partners, receive the information in 12 minutes maximum. And these members include TV networks, radio stations, news websites, airports, train stations, ports, ATMs, banks ATMs, road signs, search and rescue teams, ministries, volunteer organizations, and many, many more. So this is the EMAS technological tool. Now, a couple of years ago in 2020, we developed a specific application. It's called the Missing Alert application, powered by Cosmote company. And this is an application that anyone can download on their mobile phones. Today, it has more than 11,000 users. By downloading this application, one receives information on missing persons, can post information if they have tips or any helpful information immediately, automatically through the application. And very, very importantly, this relates to the following slide that I will show you. Care persons, relatives of particularly vulnerable persons can upload specific information on this application that helps as a prevention, so that in the case that a person goes missing, the information is already there. So this Missing Alert application is one of our newest tools that we developed 3 years ago and that we're proud to showcase. So we have the Missing Alert protocol. This is something that we developed being inspired by a practice in England. In England, it's called the Herbert Protocol. It is a specific form that relatives and care persons of particularly vulnerable persons, persons with mental health issues, etc., can fill out with all the important information of the person, features, special behaviors, sensitivities, activities, all the important information, so that if this vulnerable person goes missing, and we have several cases like this that we handle daily, I would say, this information can immediately be available to the authorities, to the police, and to those looking for the person. So we consider this extremely important also as a preventive measure, instead of wasting time to collect this information after the person goes missing. Later on, I will speak about the SmileNet program, our recent program that was co-funded by the EU and Greece, in the framework of which we developed different tools. So this was also facilitated by this program. Fifth best practice in the field of technology is the cooperation with Meta, and we are able to have our Amber Alerts only featured on Facebook, Meta, and Instagram. We began with Facebook in 2016, and in 2023 we expanded this to include Instagram as well. It's geolocalized information, so users will receive this information in the newsfeed automatically, the details of the missing person, from this cooperation that we have with Meta. So we consider this also a very important practice. Now, as I mentioned just a couple of minutes ago, we recently concluded a 2-year program that was funded by the EU and by the Greek Operational Fund, it's called. supported by the Ministry of Digital Governance. This was a very big project that had this different sub-projects, let's say. In the framework of this project, we developed many different tools, and some relate to the issue of missing children. One of these things that we developed is a tracking device, which is, as you see in the photo, it's a watch. It's a tracking device for persons that are at high risk, so vulnerable persons, as the ones that I described a little earlier with the protocol. And this is a watch to be worn worn on the hand by the vulnerable persons, so that if anything happens to them and they go missing, automatically we at Smile are alerted and are able to see where they are. It includes a panic button for the person to press. It includes the geo parameters that can be included, so that if there are particular sensitivities or difficulties around the area where a vulnerable person is living, then the device can be triggered in a specific way. So this is something that we're now beginning to use, and in an event that we will have tomorrow, where it's focused only on the Greek audience here in Athens, we will also have a simulation to show a little bit how this is going to work. So this is a new tool that we developed. Again, in the framework of this project, SmileNet project, that was done the past couple of years, we developed a national network of digital autonomous communication. And what this basically means is that we developed a system where, if all else fails, if all telecommunications fail, our system will work. So the wireless devices, our command center, our line, all the intercommunication between operators, those going on search and rescue operation, and everyone involved can communicate. This has the capacity to be used across the country, so it has a pan-Hellenic scope, and its purpose also is to be used during cases of disasters or crises, say an earthquake or natural disaster or whatever. So this is also brand new. We recently have developed this and are about to begin using it. And linked to this also, again in the framework of the SmileNet program, is a mobile command center, which is part of this national network of the digital autonomous communication. So everything that we have available, all of the tools, devices, communications, etc., are also available from this mobile command center, which is basically used by our search and rescue team. The Smile of a Child also has, apart from its staff that answers the phones, it also has its own search and rescue team consisting of volunteers and specially trained dogs that is mobilized every time and looks for missing children and persons alongside the authorities and other volunteer organizations. So this command center has the capacity also to use this autonomous communication system at any time. The last part that I will show today as part of the SmileNet program is another tool called the VAPI Smile. VAPI coming from volunteering application and happy smile. So this is a digital management and information system, something that can be downloaded on an application that volunteers can download on their phones. And so they're connected to any volunteer action of the Smile of a Child. The volunteer actions, the actions where volunteers participate at the Smile of a Child do not only refer to missing and exploited children, but also to other actions. So everything will be part of this application, including our actions on missing and exploited children. So this is something, an immediate tool that the search and rescue team and all volunteers can use to exchange in real-time information and communicate with each other. Last but not least, in the field of missing children, is the GMC Engine, which is a tool of the International Center of Missing and Exploited Children, and its CEO will present later on. So this is just a tool, I will not say more about it. It's a tool that the Smile of a Child is a very active user. So we upload our cases of missing children, all this application, so that the system can look automatically in the deep and dark web as well and match it with other images, cases of exploitation, etc. I see that my time is approaching, so I will speed up to move to 3 best practices. I'll be quick in the field of exploitation. So as we have the National Center for Missing Persons, we also have a Center for Abused and Exploited Children. And over the 28 years, we've responded to nearly 5 million calls at our national helpline for children, the SOS 1056. It's our first line, the first number, the main number that everyone knows in Greece. And in 2023 alone, we answered to nearly 200,000 calls at our national helpline, calls referring to violence, exploitation of children. Again, we have the calling centers. I presented this before, so I won't say more. It's the same. It's the interconnected calling centers where the trained psychologists and social workers respond, and they respond not only to cases of missing children, but also to reports and cases of children victims of abuse and exploitation. And 2 more things I have to say. One is very important, and I believe that more will be said about this tomorrow, but the Smile of the Child, in the spirit and based on an agreement with NCMEC that it's had a few years, is happy to finally be able to announce the launch of a cyber tip line Elas, so the Greek version of cyber tip line. I think everybody, surely you today here that have joined us, but most people around the world know what the cyber tip line is, and I'm sure Michelle will say more about it too, where people give tips on cases of online exploitation, abuse of children. And only in 2022, the application of the US cyber tip line received nearly, 43,500 reports of material related to child sexual exploitation for our country, for Greece. Last but not least, at our line, the National Helpline for Children 1056, a few years ago in 2020, we developed a chat application. So not only answering phones, something happened to the screen, okay, on the traditional phone, but also responding to children reaching out to us via chat. It's a very useful, popular tool, especially for teenagers, as we see that more and more children like to use the chat instead of picking up the phone and reaching out to us. And of course, we're able to do all of these things that I presented with the very important support of the technological partners and technology. So thank you very much. I will conclude here, not to take up more time from our agenda. Now that I have concluded the presentation of the Smile of the Child, I will give the floor to Michelle to present the best practices of NCMEC, which have, as you've heard already, have inspired and been inspiring the Smile of the Child for all these years. So a lot of the things that we do are following the footsteps and the examples of NCMEC. So I would like to give you the floor now.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much. An excellent presentation. So thank you again for taking time to hear a little bit about our approach with technology, searching for missing children, responding to exploitation. Let's see, sorry, there we go. Just a little bit about the organization briefly. We are a nonprofit organization that was founded in 1984. It's our 40th year anniversary. As the United States National Clearinghouse on Missing and Exploited Children issues, understandably over the last 4 decades, our remit has grown in order to respond to the significant issues and the evolution of the threats that face our children. So we do have 15 specific programs that we are operating in response to missing and exploited children. Our mission, though, in a very short nugget, is to find missing children, to stop sexual exploitation of children, and to prevent these crimes from occurring in the first place. As I had mentioned earlier, we do have a long-standing relationship with the Smile of the Child, and we do have the shared legacy, as I mentioned earlier. On the left, you see beautiful Andreas, and on the right is Adam Walsh. Adam Walsh was the inspiration for the creation of the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, a beautiful boy who was taken in 1981, while Andreas and Adam have different stories regarding the tragedies that have spurred child protection measures in both of our countries, but they both have served as the inspiration. And Adam's parents, John and Reve Walsh, they took the tragedy of their son's abduction and murder and really created and demanded a better system, a better way of approaching these issues within the United States. It was because of their advocacy and that of other families of missing children that our organization found its roots. And as they often say, if Adam's song is to continue, we must do the singing. And that is what everyone at the National Center is committed to do every day, is to come into work, to assist those families and children and stakeholders who need our assistance, and to continue to evolve our programs to meet the growing needs and the evolving needs. COSTAS has been a part of the family with the National Center and with the International Center for Missing and Exploited Children for many years, and also has taken his son's memory and turned it into action to serve so many, and we're eternally grateful. So today I'd like to speak briefly about not only some of the technology that has been created that we use, but also how we are using existing technology. A few pictures up here that I'd just like to walk you through. On the top left, you'll see Amber Alerts. Within the United States, the decision to issue an Amber Alert belongs to law enforcement. However, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, NCMEC, we are designated as a secondary distributor of Amber Alerts. So when an Amber Alert is issued, we are the ones who are able to push it out to additional mechanisms to share with the public. One of the most critical ways is through individuals' mobile phones, that we are using a wireless emergency alert system that actually comes default in all phones in the United States with a SIM card, that we are able to geo-target and geolocate an Amber Alert with specific information related to the abduction or of a missing child to the community that is most likely around that child. Amber, also a young child, Amber, who was taken in Texas, a child who was abducted. Another example of a tragedy that has been really brought a new program, a new life-saving measure across the United States and around the world. So the Amber Alert in the United States has led to the successful recovery, a safe recovery of more than 1,100 children. So we are using that technology not only through the mobile phones, but also pushing them through Instagram, other tech partners, many of the billboards that we have. Again, giving credible, specific information to the public to allow them to help in the search for missing children, which has been very successful. In the top middle, you'll see a geolocated QR code. This is actually an innovation that our team has worked on very hard at the National Center, which was creating a tool, a QR code that would allow people to point their phone at it, take, access the link, and only view missing children who are within a 50-mile radius of themselves, or who have gone missing from within a 50-mile radius of that child. This has solved some of the problems that we historically have had, which is a child is missing, then recovered. There are posters out there. Sometimes it takes some time to get the images down. Some of our partners will be printing photos. By having a very dynamic, geolocated way of being able to share with individuals images that are most likely children that are in their vicinity, has been a game changer, and it's going to help very much with partners. We are working closely with hotels, with stores, retail establishments that can put these QR codes in the back of house for their employees to be able to look at frequently and familiarize themselves with the faces of children that they may come in contact with. On the bottom left, you'll see the geo-targeted social media posts. Last year, our organization received more than 28,000 reports of missing children in the United States. Clearly, it's a very large country. We have more than 18,000 law enforcement agencies across the United States. It's critical that we have ways to be able to push the information to the targeted communities. In addition, we want to ensure that all children, all missing children, have the same attention being focused on their cases. So recently, not just recently, I apologize, what we have been using the social media posts over the last few years is also tagging the local news outlets, tagging local establishments and media outlets in the photos of these missing children to try to raise awareness within that community and provide them footage that they are able to put out onto their networks. Again, the entire intent is to drive more localized engagement and to bring the photos and the stories of these missing children to the communities in an equal way. On the far right, you'll see a recent posting actually from just the other week, of a young girl named Ella who is missing in the United States. We have found that not only with geo-targeting our social media posts, but also we are able to put more photographs on a more personal level for the public to be able to connect with of a missing child, to draw their interest. You'll see at the top there, the family members actually said something to Ella that we were able to put into the posting. Because of this, it makes a more compelling story for people who are looking at the photos of these missing children, coming up on their feeds, make them more likely to pay attention, look at the photos, read the stories, and share, which is the entire intent, is as many photos, as many eyes that we can have looking at these pictures. This particular case, the story there and the message from the family helped many users share this further. So we use these techniques on anniversaries, on birthdays, special moments within a missing child or their family's lives to keep the awareness and attention on these cases regardless of how long the child's been missing. Also, a few other ways that we are using existing technology, the geo-targeted billboards. We have partners that operate the billboards within the United States that are willing to give free of charge their space to feature missing children in their area. In addition, some of our prevention programs that we're featuring. On the top right, another incredible program, there's a company called GSTV. They are a company that put the television screens on gas pumps across the United States. More than 22,000 gas stations in the United States are featuring missing children photos in a geo-targeted way that while people are standing there, you have a captive audience, and we want to find new innovative ways to put photos of missing children in front of these people. On the bottom left and bottom right, we are utilizing our connections with the entertainment industry to be able to raise awareness of missing children. On the bottom left, a program called Unsolved Mysteries that come to us, and that we provide them with information and work with them and the families of missing children to be able to bring their stories into a compelling story for the audience to consume, but most importantly, to try to identify the child. You'll see two photographs there of a young missing girl on the top right with the braids. Kayla had been missing for many years. Her story was featured on Unsolved Mysteries, and an individual who was watching it recognized her as a student at her school. So it does work, again, trying to bring these missing children to where people are, and honestly, many people are watching TVs and consuming media. And on the bottom right, very proud of, again, our founder, John Walsh, who is running America's Most Wanted. It's a program that is operating in the United States to catch fugitives. He not only has the show that has been wildly successful over the years, but he features a missing child case on every episode. So again, using these opportunities in these media establishments. We do age progressions of missing children. What you'll see on the left there is the photograph of a 3-month-old baby, or I'm sorry, a 3-week-old baby who had been abducted. We will not close a case of a missing child. If a child has been missing for longer than 2 years, we will age progress the image. We have talented artists on hand who are using Photoshop technology that are looking at reference photos of the family to try to estimate what the child would likely look like. On the middle there, you'll see the age progression of this particular child who was missing well into her teen years. And on the far right is the recovery photo of that little baby who had been abducted. And she had seen her photograph on our website. That, along with plenty of investigative work with law enforcement, were able to identify that child and resolve that case. We also sadly have hundreds of unidentified remains of children that law enforcement across the United States are working hard to find out who that child was. Again, the same artists that do the age progressions are using incredible technology to build out what likely that person looked like. On the left there was a skull that was found in a case that law enforcement requested our assistance with. Our talented artists created the composite in the middle, and from that image, somebody recognized the young woman on the right who had gone missing and was found murdered. So we are continuing to use this technology, innovating and working with all sorts of partners to apply their technologies to this very specific crime type. This is actually a program that we're very proud of also, which is attempted abductions. We are tracking attempted abductions. These are failed abductions of children in the United States. We have more than 12,000 confirmed attempted abductions, and we are able to take that information and plot that onto a map because we are sharing this with law enforcement and with communities so they can be aware, because sometimes a failed abduction is a precursor to a successful abduction. So we are learning lessons from these cases, how the child was approached, and converting that information into prevention and safety. Speaking briefly about the cyber tip line, last year in 2023 we received more than 36 million reports of child sexual exploitation, mostly online, many of the reports from the US tech companies. With the support of Meta, financial support of Meta, we're able to create a free customizable NCMEC case management tool that allows law enforcement anywhere in the world to ingest new cyber tip line reports, to track them, to assess them, to refer them, and as importantly, to be able to provide feedback on the specific reports, not only to the National Center, but also back to the tech company who initiated the report. This is something that is really making it much easier for law enforcement in a very complicated world where there's a high volume of leads that is very difficult for them to be able to track. As P. mentioned, within Greece, when we receive reports to the cyber tip line that concern material or an incident from Greece, we make that report available to Europol. I'm very proud of our partnership with Europol. They do a tremendous job ingesting many reports, and after providing value and assessing, they will make it available to the Greek authorities. I do want to speak to this new program that has been launched just last year called Take It Down. Like many of you, we have seen a tremendous increase in the cases of sextortion where children are being blackmailed and extorted for imagery of for abusive images, explicit images of themselves. For many years, our messaging around the world has been once you send it, you can't get it back. And while that is true, I think it's a very, we're realizing how powerless that makes kids feel when they find themselves in a circumstance that an image, an inappropriate, explicit image may have been shared online. This program, this tool, which is translated now in more than 20 languages, allows a child to be able to submit hash values of the actual images themselves to NCMEC, and we make these hash values available to many of the leading tech companies who have agreed that if they see that image or video on their system, they will take it down. We very much want to make sure that this is implemented. The reason for the translation into more than 20 languages is we want everyone to be able to use something like this. Meta also supported the creation of this financially, and it's a very important tool that we need to be able to share further. As we mentioned, data in and of itself is not helpful. We need to turn data into knowledge. We have an obligation with all of the information that we see, all of the data flowing in. How can we change that to knowledge, and how can we create action, meaningful action? And all of our data, through our data science programs, we are actually converting that into education and safety programs, all free, all age appropriate, from age 5 on up through the teenage years. On our website, we have all of this material. It is worth mentioning that we do have an agreement with the Smile of the Child. Again, we are willing to license it to different entities. It can be translated. Our goal is that whatever lessons we have learned, we're able to share with others to ensure that children are protected everywhere, because every child deserves a safe childhood. So thank you very much to the Smile of the Child.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Michelle. That was, you continue to inspire us. We saw new elements that will inspire us surely. We will now move to our next presentation. It's actually a presentation of an additional, I would say, 11 best practice of the Smile of the Child, but this will be presented by Mr. Adonis Tsiboukis, CEO of Cisco Greece, Cyprus, and Malta. Mr. Tsiboukis is an experienced general manager with a demonstrated history of working in the computer networking industry. He started working with Cisco in January 1998, initially holding the position of account manager for enterprise and public sector projects. He's held management positions in corporate and public sector project and service provider teams since 2001. He served as Cisco's general manager for Greece, Cyprus, and Malta since August 2011, and was also operations director for 2 years, responsible for the borderless networks architecture in the Mediterranean region. Prior to Cisco, he worked at Algo Systems SA, one of the largest integrated solution providers in Greece, managing the company's enterprise and service provider projects since 1994. I would like to give the floor to Mr. Tsiboukis now. Thank you.
All the information provided. I'm very proud to be here today. I always mention, how much we have managed to contribute to the success of the Smile of the Child through technology. It is something that started many years ago. I would say 20 years ago that we started supporting with our solutions, the Smile of the Child. And, we keep saying that digital and technology will change our life. Here, we're here to help life. And this is what we have been so proud and vocal about it, at least in a humble way. And I'm saying a humble way because with so many companies get together that we organize the technology team of the Smile of the Child, that people don't realize the power that we have. But this power is displayed by the infrastructure that has been created for all the marvelous the services that are provided by the Smile of the Child. And as I said, we're here to help life, make life better for our people, for our children, to providing innovative services through the excellent collaboration that we all have. But at the same time, we're using technology to provide knowledge to the children and also education. And I'm very happy to say that the Smile of the Child, through Smile Academy, is running the Networking Academy program of Cisco, providing for digital skills certifications that can be easily be applied in the market and for the students to find jobs in our digital world where we live now. And, we're in such a great demand. Now, throughout the years, many important awards have been won in Greece and internationally by the Smile of the Child, starting in 2006, getting a 100% score for the European hotline for missing children, and repeatedly continue to be awarded for the excellent services provided. At the same time, since 2008, in partnership with technological companies, Smile of the Child has been participating in digital awards that have been given throughout the country in companies, in ICT companies mainly. So we're playing a role of an ICT, let's say, provider in the country, and we've seen the marvelous awards that have been won since 2008, right up until the end of last year, to 2023. Now, what unites the members of the team that we have created? They're all children and they deserve a smile, as the founder said, Andreas Giannopoulos. We all believe that we need to provide smile, to provide happiness, comfort for the needed in our country, and we need it so much, and we see it every day, and we see the actions that the Smile of the Child is taking throughout the years. And it was back, like I said, it was 20 years ago that we started supporting the Smile of the Child with technological solutions, but we were here and there and everywhere, without being very well organized. And in 2007, we created this group, this team, the technology team, with, of course, the shared belief that if we join forces, we'll be able to effectively support the children and the families that need it most. That was another statement that was made by the founder, by Andreas. If we all unite, we will succeed. And this is what is happening as we speak. Now, who are the participants of this technology team? all the major multinationals, ICT multinationals, but also major Greek companies in the ICT field, all working together for a common cause, for making the smile of the child successful in its purpose. The companies that participate, most of us were all competitors in our daily life. We're in competition, we're killing each other to win business. But when we work for the smile of the child, it's all forgotten. We're united as a team, supporting the smile of the child the best way we can, making sure that we have the most state-of-the-art technological solution applied to the smile of the child, showcasing all our best solutions that they can provide a better life and a bigger smile for our children. And we're assuring that we're having the most optimal, secure, and technologically sound way for the services that need to be run in the smile of the child. We heard earlier on how many services are run. It's an amazing infrastructure that the smile of the child has managed to build, and we're very proud of it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much to Mr. Tsiboukis for presenting to us this technology team for children. I would now like to introduce our next speaker, who represents NCMEC. Bob Cunningham is the CEO of the International Center for Missing and Exploited Children. Bob became the CEO of NCMEC in 2019 after a career that has included leadership roles in several organizations focused on the education of vulnerable children. A sought-after expert commentator for his work on behalf of children by national media outlets, Bob's primary role is to galvanize the incredible business leaders, government officials, philanthropists, subject matter experts, program teams, and operational staff who all come together through NCMEC to make the world safer for children. Bob, you have the floor.
Thank you so much, PG. Before I put my presentation up, I want to say that it's an honor to be the CEO of the International Center, and one of the reasons that it's such an honor is because the International Center really is part of the National Center's legacy, starting with what Michelle said about John Walsh and the great leaders and professionals who have really changed the way the world approaches missing and exploited children, and having Michelle as the CEO of the National Center is amazing and so well deserved, and I could not be happier to be part of that legacy. So thank you, Michelle, for everything that you and everybody at the National Center is doing. Most people in this webinar will know that NCMEC was started at the National Center and then separated from it a decade and a half ago or so, and is now fully independent, but still represents a part of what NCMEC has been able to do for the world. So very proud of that. The other thing I will say related to Smile of the Child is Kostas, who is just an amazing person and an amazing leader in this field, was a very long-term board member for the International Center. And when I was looking at the International Center as a place to maybe continue my career, there were a lot of factors that went into that. But the fact that Kostas from Greece and the main child protection organization in Greece, Smile of the Child, and others from other countries like Italy, who were just so instrumental in what their countries are able to do for children, and with Kostas's personal story with his son, those were large pieces of why I decided to take on the challenge of leading the International Center. So incredible honor to be here with both you, Michelle, and you, Kostas. Thank you. Those of you who don't know the International Center, I'm going to limit my conversation today to our work around missing children, but we have robust programs in both missing children and child sexual exploitation. With missing children, we really have 4 main programs and one that is now emerging. But our main programs are gap assessments that we do with governments of countries that are multi-stakeholder. So they involve government agencies, political leaders, NGOs, and corporate leaders in a country. And what we do is help to identify gaps in the child protection system around missing children. We've done those over the past 2 years in about 8 countries. And they've been very informative in terms of how we think about missing children's issues, and then how we're able to share that thinking and understanding with others. We also have helped 21 countries establish their own Amber Alert systems based on the Amber Alert system in the United States. We're very proud of that work with governments and NGOs in those 21 countries. And we have a global missing children's network. Smile of the Child is obviously part of that network, as is NCMEC. And that involves about 30 countries that come together to share best practices and information. Those countries also have access to the technology tool that I'll talk about here in a minute. The last thing I want to say is that both Michelle and Costa spoke so eloquently about the need for collaboration, and NCMEC is by its DNA a collaborative organization. We are too small to be able to do things on our own that are going to have significant scale or impact in the world. So we rely on all of our partners. Many of our partners are here today in this forum, and I could not be happier to see those names and those organizations as part of today. So our partners mean everything to NCMEC, and we really exist to serve children, but also to serve our partner organizations. I'm going to share my screen now so that I can talk about the particular tool. Always hold my breath a little to see if it will work. It did. That's great. Let's see. So the technology that I want to present to you is one that's existed for a few years. We are now in the process of redeveloping it. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what that redevelopment entails and what you can expect from it. The Global Missing Children's Network that I mentioned was the genesis of this project. So we call it the Global Missing Children's Network Engine, which is a very lengthy kind of name. So we're actually looking at rebranding the tool as well. But for now, it's the Global Missing Children's Network Engine, or just the engine. And this technology involves 5 key tech partners with NCMEC. So this tool is not something that NCMEC does on its own. We have 5 very key partners, one of whom, Jason Beer from Federation for Internet Alerts, will, I think, follow me on today's agenda. So you'll hear more about FIA and Jason's work, but they are an amazing partner for us with this technology. The solution that was developed by Amazon Web Services with us and is now supported by those 5 tech partners is a large database of missing children's cases, and we use it along with machine learning and artificial intelligence technologies to compare images with scraped information from the clear and dark webs. It also connects to a lot of other databases around the world through APIs. So we are always interested in onboarding new partners, folks where a connection to this kind of database could be helpful. It's designed primarily to facilitate intra and interagency communication and best practices, and it creates immediate geo-targeted alerts that allow case managers to make the public aware of missing children in their area. It does not have the same kinds of restrictions that Amber Alerts have. So it is really an agency to public sharing that's in the hands of the agencies who enter the cases that are managed through the case management process and the database. In 2022, about 1,280 cases were uploaded to the system that were resolved from 2,771 alerts. There were a whole bunch of click-throughs, as you can see, and a lot of media impressions, 500 million media impressions. And we, like I said, 35 agencies from the Global Missing Children's Network are currently the users of this. In our revision of this product, we will hopefully be able to make it available to organizations beyond just the Global Missing Children's Network. So that is part of our thinking and planning here. So I'm happy to talk to folks about that anytime. We look to, in our redevelopment, really address the needs for case management. We've determined that from all of our users, that's one of the functions that they really badly need. We are using the data dictionary that is consistent with Interpol and NCMEC so that those organizations that are familiar with those formats will be able to easily understand the information in this platform as well. We're going to maintain that public alerting feature. And again, that is completely under the control of the case manager. So you do not have to send public alerts. You do not have to use the facial recognition or background scraping technologies if that's prohibited in your area of the world. It's entirely under your control. This tool is entirely free as well, I should mention. This is a completely free platform. It allows for those real-time notifications. It will have a very powerful search feature to help agencies locate similarities with other cases in other databases or across their own systems. It will alert for similar cases across borders, and it will allow for feedback to NCMEC on the resolution of those cases or the progress on them, so that we can also look to find additional assistance from our other partners if needed. There was a great example of that in Guatemala last year, where we were alerted by the Amber Alert system in Guatemala. Our partner there, where we helped to set that up, called us for assistance with a 19-day-old baby who had been abducted. And we reached out to Meta, which is another partner of ours, and to U.S. Homeland Security and a few others, along with the Guatemalan Federal Police. And that group together was able to locate that baby, reunite that baby with her mom. So if you're interested in that, there is a YouTube video on that. If you search NCMEC on YouTube, you'll find it. Here is our kind of new case management app that will be part of the revision. I wanted to just give everybody a little look at this. The graphics will all change and things like that, but you can get an idea of the kinds of things we're trying to put into this. This is how you will enter new case information. This is the kind of the home screen that will help you keep track of everything and allow you to share across your own agency or with other agencies. The kinds of details that can be included. Again, these are completely under the control of the case manager. And then the reporting feature that will be allowed in terms of the geo-targeting and that sort of stuff. Again, the case manager controls what information is published and what is not published. So you're able to keep any private information private, share what you think will be most helpful to the public in helping to locate the child. So that is the Global Missing Children's Network engine. NCMEC and Smile of the Child are two major users of the platform. We want to get this into as many hands as possible, and we're looking forward to the redeveloped version launching sometime in Q2 this year, so that it will have more robust features and more targeted features. The last thing I want to share with everyone is that we also, a year or so ago, worked with the Pearl Lab at Boise State University in the United States to create the first kind of empirical model for estimating how many kids are actually missing in each country at a particular time. This model was the product of a whole lot of research by the team at Boise State and the folks, my teams at NCMEC. We are now engaging with the steering committee of the Global Missing Children's Network to help us look at this and turn it into an app that will be made available free of charge to the public for use by researchers, for use by advocacy organizations, to try to bring attention to just the enormous scale of missing children in particular countries and around the world. We feel like this is an important part of advocacy efforts that's currently really not there. So few countries actually keep reliable statistics that creating this kind of statistical estimation model seemed like a great tool to put out into the world. So we are doing that. And I'm, again, happy to provide people with more information about this. We anticipate that this will also launch Q2 of 2024. So the beginning of 2024 is an exciting time for NCMEC. It's an exciting time for our work around missing children and our work with all of your organizations. And again, honored to be here, honored to be part of this global community working together to help children in these important ways. PG, thank you so much for all of your help and facilitation.
Words and for your presentation. We're honored by all of your presentations today, your presence and your support for this event. I will now move to our next presenter, Jason Beer. He's president of the Federation for Internet Alerts, a non-profit organization. He's also CEO of Truth, a public benefit company. FIA, the Federation, received the NCMEC Humanitarian Award in 2019 for its work to power the GMC engine that you just heard about. And the GMC engine is the world's largest global alerting system for missing children. So Jason, if you're ready, you have the floor. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Kos. It's great to see you, Michelle. I hear through the grapevine that it's your birthday today, so happy birthday. I really am really honored to be here today. It's such a pleasure to be involved with so many good people around the world. This is the award that you mentioned that I received on behalf of FIA a number of years ago, and I am, very delighted to be speaking to you today about the good work that I'm doing with so many good people. I'd like to begin by talking about the Federation for Internet Alerts. It's been running since 2011. We formally formed a nonprofit in 2015. We distribute emergency alerts around the world in 31 countries with Bob Cunningham and NCMEC. Their involvement has been critical in distributing these alerts. We started with NCMEC as a secondary Amber Alert system on the internet, distributing in browsers around the United States, Amber Alerts specifically. And we've expanded globally in recent years, serving these alerts that you see on the screen in various countries and in native languages. It's a remarkable system. There's no human intervention. It automatically turns on and off and assembles these images and text and colors and graphics using ad technology. And it's just a remarkable system. And it's going to be expanding even more with our participation with NCMEC as we scale this further across the world. This is just an example of a live rendering that I got on my computer. We geo-target these alerts. So I was in Chicago. This child was missing in Chicago, and I received this alert on my screen. So I get these frequently, and I see them. I know, and the benefits are clear. People can see children that are missing in their area as they're looking at news and reading information. The ability to penetrate, and serve alerts to users in the community, it results in outcomes that are favorable for children. This is just a quick example of our partnership with NCMEC in distributing Amber Alerts. Real time, we activate these within seconds, and they're distributed in targeted areas. They serve as a complementary service to WIA, the wireless emergency alerts that Michelle mentioned. And they remind people that child is still missing over a 48-hour period. Through our partnership with powering the GMC engine, we have distributed alerts in 5 continents and 31 countries served. 5,610 children have been recovered. In total, we have distributed over 10 billion media impressions around the world for thousands of children. We've received on average in the case of GMC Engine 1,000 clicks to view posters per alert, and the recovery rate overall is 52%, which is quite remarkable. This has been a huge system. It is now the largest global alerting system in the world. There's nothing that comes even close. Let's see here. I would like to spend a little time talking to you about a public benefit company that is expanding my efforts to revolutionize the way data is shared with law enforcement in the private sector, and results in a system that can allow for data sharing like never before and communications. This is increasing law enforcement's ability to gather information and share it and solve crimes in the United States, and we're going to be expanding this across the world as well. It's a public benefit company that serves the common good in partnership with law enforcement internationally. So Truth is really an internationally scalable communication intelligence platform. It's currently in use within the United States of America. There's over 900 law enforcement agencies and private sector businesses that utilize Truth daily to combat organized crime and auto theft. And we're looking to expand this into missing children and human trafficking, which has become a problem across the world. And really, what is Truth? How does it work? It's a secure intelligence platform. It's designed to get the right information to the right people, specifically law enforcement and subject matter experts in the private sector, primarily retailers we work with now, like Walmart and Home Depot and other retail stores, to get that information across different locations at the right time. It's very easy to use. It's a browser-based platform. It brings peace of mind through an intuitive, multilingual, and easy to use, really hit the ground running user experience. It's relevant. It has real-time data sharing, intelligence, and integration to identify and act on threats. And it's a highly secure system. It's regionally located. It's a secure cloud data system, and it integrates encryption and segmentation and authentication, all kinds of privacy controls and firewalls to prevent intrusion. So this system is really a cutting-edge, next-generation system that can allow for coordination with law enforcement and in topics in crime that are happening around the world. So what I really want to do together, like as Kostas has stated, is to bring our experiences together we've had and build on our success. I would like to launch an international communication and investigative network to protect children through the protection of using Truth as a protection software for missing children, for child exploitation and human trafficking. It can even have tangential benefits of preventing auto theft, dealing with organized crime cross-border, and violent offenders as well. I will add that it's a multilingual more on translation effort, border in different languages, even going to the point of using terms that are used in trafficking to be able to translate those appropriately across border. The overall system is highly advanced, and we've been using it for now 4 years in the United States to cover, as I mentioned, auto theft and various other crimes. This is really a unique opportunity to bring the world together like never before, to handle complex crimes. I'd be happy to demo this platform if you'd like to contact me directly. My email address is there. Generally, I'm really passionate about children's issues. I was down at the 5th Annual Mid-South Anti-Human Trafficking Summit here in the United States this week, and I had the honor to meet Father Jeffrey Bahi. He is working on human trafficking in the Mid-South area, and I asked the father, I said, Father Jeff, can you ask God if he wants truth? And he immediately replied, God needs a lot more truth these days. And that's why I named it Truth, because I think that, really what we're missing in the world is more truth. And I think that children can benefit from the truth like never before, using technology and getting the right people on the right platform and using technology. That's what truth's about. It's about saving children. It's about helping empower communities to be safe. And it's something that translates across the world and everyone believes is needed, especially these days. I will say that I am concerned, going back to the Federation for Internet Alerts, about Google. Google's going to see support of third-party cookies. In Q3, they've already started to block the alerts that FIA serves into their Chrome browser. I am concerned about this. I think it's a mistake. It's a mistake for the internet. It's a mistake for Google to do this. I am pleased, however, to say that Microsoft is a partner of ours and has doubled down on FIA and is going to increase distribution of FIA alerts into the Edge browser. And also its owned and operated properties like Teams and LinkedIn. So if I could say one thing about FIA again, it's countries get on the platform, talk to Bob, start using it, because it's going to get more and more exposure. Although I am concerned about Google, I hope that they will reconsider their plans to do this and stop the concept of shutting down cookies. It's not good for anyone. So with that, I'm really pleased to be invited here. I'm really honored to be a part of such a great, wonderful group of people that care about children across the world. I've had nothing but wonderful experiences with everyone, and I'm really excited about Truth. I think it can make a huge difference in the world. I know we can get the right people on the right platforms. We can solve crime like never before. So thank you so much for allowing me to present today.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Jason. Mr. Yiannopoulos wants to say 2 words to you because he wasn't able to respond to you when you made your introductory remarks.
I wasn't in the picture, Jason, and I just wanted to say hi because we have some pending issues to discuss and to continue this fantastic work that you're doing to expand it together with other partners and with NCMEC. But I just say thank you for what you're doing. And the truth is that some people are working very hard to make the world better for the children. Thank you, Jason.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for this passionate and emotional exchange and intervention. I will now like to pass on to our next presentation from Canada. We will have 2 presenters representing, on the one hand, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. So we have Sergeant Lana Prosper, acting officer in charge of the National Center for Missing Persons and Unidentified Remains of RCMP. The NCMPUR assists all Canadian law enforcement agencies with missing persons investigations within Canada and internationally. The NCMPUR and Missing Children Society of Canada, which is where our other speaker comes from, are the Canadian partners of the GMCN and have worked collaboratively on many initiatives. So Lana Prosper represents the RCMP, and our other speaker, Amanda Pick, is CEO of Missing Children Society of Canada. For 37 years, the Missing Children Society of Canada has provided unique and comprehensive programs to support police and protect children. The organization's mandate is to find missing children faster through innovative technology and investigative support. The MCSC Child Search Network provides police services and Canadians across Canada with a quick, easy, and effective way to share information and collaborate with one another to find missing children more quickly and return them to a safe environment. So welcome Lana and Amanda, and you have the floor.
Thank you. I'm going to start and then I'll be turning it over to Amanda. And I think we're in Canada in a very unique position when we talk about our relationship that we have both internally with Canada and also on the world stage at Global Missing Children Network. So thank you, P, for going over kind of what our mandates are. And we're quite clear in those roles, coming from both a law enforcement perspective and an NGO. And we're very fortunate that we have that relationship. It's not one that we see for on the international stage, and you know, that I think benefits Canada and how we can work. So we are a very unique partnership, and it was created specifically to move forward the issue of missing children within Canada and how we can better answer to those investigations that we enter into. The good thing that came from that is because we've had this unique partnership and been able to assist all Canadian law enforcement on this, that we've been able to share that information worldwide. And so, you know, we've spent a lot of time in Canada getting this right between the partners. And when I say partners, I mean all law enforcement. We're very unique here in Canada. I'm part of the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, as P said, but our center works with all law enforcement, so it's not just the RCMP. And because of that, we've been able to be a voice with Amanda's group in developing technologies that work for all of Canada, and that, I think, has led it to be able to be used for all of the world as well. So on that note, I'm going to turn it over to Amanda because I know we only have a short amount of time, and she's going to talk more about the technology that that the rescue app is part of. So over to you, Amanda.
Thanks, Lana. I think Lana's points are really important as it relates to the partnership between law enforcement, NGOs, our technology partners that enable the engagement of citizens, and for us Canadians coast to coast. We are an identified partner, as Lana said, of the RCMP, and their partner to the National Center. That allowed for us to have a unique, not only relationship, but agreement through an MOU. And we are fortunate to have been working for over a decade with the Canadian Association of Chiefs of Police, representing all law enforcement across Canada. And as such, in 2020, a resolution was adopted by all the chiefs across the country through the CACP to identify the Child Search Network as Canada's secondary alert system to Amber Alert, which I think is really important. We've touched on that today many times, but there is the Amber Alert system, which we all know is prolific in terms of engaging community. But then there is a gap, and many of the countries have met that gap of response. And in Canada, we've done that through the Child Search Network. Our partners, our technology partners, Esri Canada and Microsoft, really saw the same vision that we did. How could we harness technology in multiple ways, multiple channels, to ensure that every single case of a high-risk missing child in Canada had the opportunity to be seen, and then for Canadians to respond and to help bring those missing children home faster. So as part of the Child Search Network, and I talk about it as a network, the most prolific channel that we have is certainly the Rescue app. Canadians are able to download the app and engage with information geographically specific. They're able to receive, register for and receive SMS alerts directly from police of jurisdiction. They're able to provide tips back to police, and that has resulted in children across our country being located safely. But we're not just talking about an app, and today we're not just talking about different platforms of technology. Really, I think, what the theme is about the network of networks, and not just in a country, but globally. Through the partnerships that we have through the Global Missing Children's Network, we're able to harness the best of technology, the best of all of our efforts to enable a best practice, not just for our own communities and countries, but globally. And as part of that contribution from Canada, our partners enabled a system that really was secure. It is built on the ArcGIS platform by Esri. Microsoft has enabled us to do incredible things over the years of our partnership, but certainly when you're looking at being able to provide police a support system, as well as ensure that every single Canadian or every community member in your country has the ability to be part of the search. Microsoft enabled that through use of Azure, their cloud, as well as through a data processor that is part of the network, is really what you're seeing here. So this is Esri's ArcGIS platform. It has a portal into secure channel for all police that have access to this at no cost across the country. In that portal, in that platform, you have the ability to do many things, but enable the case to be loaded into the system. There's also a data processor I referenced around Microsoft that collects information every 5-minute intervals across Canada, public information the police have shared. And that also contributes to the database that our rescue users see. You know, managing, analyzing, and most importantly, using that information to not only immediately action, but look at how can we do better. You know, where are we able to protect our most vulnerable citizens, our children? How can we use technology to continue to really work towards no missing children, no cases of missing children in a country? And I think that this, you know, the Esri has allowed us incredible, absolutely incredible opportunities for those resources within one system. When we developed this in partnership with our police partners, and again, very critical, all this technology is to be a frontline response and to be able to really have it as part of a workflow, a standard operating workflow procedure for every police service. You know, it needs to be able to meet how they share information. And that was really crucial as we built this system together. You'll see that all of the different logos representing different police from across our country contributing into the system itself, into the network. And as we look at how we can start to encompass more protection of vulnerable citizens, and as I said, you know, working with our police partners, obviously children was the priority, but it was very clear quite quickly that not only do we have a gap of response, and I don't think Canada is unique in this, around children, but our vulnerable citizens. So when we look at our neurodivergent community, we look at seniors, and one system where it's a point that all Canadians and all police can go to, I think is really important. One system that encompasses the ability to actually be able to use other systems as channels, so that we really are using the best of innovation and collaboration as it relates to protecting our most vulnerable. I know that, you know, we have had a national now focus for many years, and it's long overdue in our country, as well as I know in the US, around our Indigenous peoples and the truth and reconciliation. Here in Canada, we have the calls to action, and our police partners, Canadians, are, you know, really moving towards that truth and reconciliation and their contribution. And so when we look at how our system can be leveraged, we know that their Indigenous communities, peoples have unique cultural needs, and it should be able to respond to their community needs as well. And so this system is really about ensuring that it has the capability for that. And we have been working with our Indigenous partners to meet what their community needs are, certainly from the truth and reconciliation perspective. You know, we knew it could help children, but we knew that there was a priority as well to protect all vulnerable persons. And really, we knew Canadians would do that. It was just, it's a matter of how. And this is our opportunity to meet the how. So we are expanding the reach and the mandate of our child search network, and it will include vulnerable persons. And so it will be the Vulnerable Person Search Network, and it will have the opportunity to take, the 10 years of development, the participation by Canadians, the usage by police now, all to the next level, and ensure that we are able to work with all of our partners to really create the safest environment in our communities, coast to coast. Accessing innovative and emerging technologies as well. I think, it is mind-boggling to hear what our partners are doing globally. It's humbling to know that we are part of that effort. I know, I would say, just the comments at the onset of this was how emotional it is. And it is emotional. It's what fuels all of us. It's what drives all of us, is to be able to contribute to a global protection model that makes incredible change as we look to the future. We are honored to work with the RCMP and police partners, not only in our country, but internationally. Our organization has served for over 37 years now, and not just through technology, but also through investigational support. I am blown away by what I see on the international stage. I'm grateful to be a part of it, and I look forward to inviting any of our partners to work with us, to communicate with us, to share with us, so that we could do the same and really be part of something tremendous as we move forward. So thank you.
To both ladies, we're inspired to see the best practice in Canada. A lot to think about and take a good example from. Thank you very, very much. I will now like to move to the last presentation that pertains to missing per se, because as you may have noticed, the program is sort of divided in two sections. So the first best practices are mainly focused on missing, and then the second part is mainly focused on exploitation. So I would like to call Miss Erin Sweeney. She is Vice President for Forensic Operations at Bodhi Technology. Ms. Sweeney directs Bodhi Technology's full laboratory operations, including casework, databasing, and applied research teams, ensuring operational compliance with all accreditation standards. Bodhi Technology is the largest private forensic DNA testing lab in the United States and assists with missing persons and unidentified human remains investigations, as well as criminal investigations and forensic investigative genetic genealogy cases worldwide. Erin, you have the floor.
Hello.
Hello.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here with you all, and it's been wonderful to learn more about the Smile of the Child and the great work of all of the other partners on the panel. So thank you so much for having me. Just a quick background on Bodhi Technology and who we are. We are the largest private forensic DNA testing laboratory in the United States. We service law enforcement, crime laboratories, non-governmental organizations throughout the United States and internationally as well. We are accredited to the international standards, the ISO 17025, and comply with the FBI quality assurance standards for DNA testing here in the US. And we were founded in 1995. Since that time, we've tested over 200,000 forensic cases, including 30,000 of unidentified human remains. And Bodhi got its start with testing of unidentified remains and missing persons, largely from the testing at the World Trade Center. We were heavily involved in testing the bones recovered from the World Trade Center, which were extremely challenging samples. They were highly degraded, highly fragmented. And in order to get DNA results from these difficult bones, it required us to really improve the technology that was being used at the time. So we invested quite a bit in research and development to improve DNA extraction specifically to get better results from bone testing. And since that time, we've now applied that technology to other identification efforts around the world, a few of them listed here. Bodhi is the current DNA testing provider for the NAMUS program in the US, the National Missing and Unidentified Person System. So we are the DNA testing partner doing the testing for that program. And Bodhi is very happy to have had a long-standing partnership with NCMEC. Our partnership started in 2012. We were the first DNA partner to NCMEC, and it's been a pleasure working with them. They do amazing work, and we're very lucky that we're located in close proximity. We're just a few minutes down the street. We're located in Virginia as well. So I've had the chance to visit the center and see the amazing work done there, and it's incredible the resources that they provide to the community. So the ways that we work with NCMEC, we collaborate on cases, on specific cases. We get together and review case details and determine what would be the best technology to apply to the case. The case reviews have been very valuable. Even cases that have already had DNA testing but have remained unsolved, we would periodically revisit the case and see what new technology advancements could now be applied to advance the case. We also work together on training both ways. Bodhi has sent scientists to NCMEC to help train investigators and consultants, and we also have had NCMEC representatives come to our events to train law enforcement and the community on the great resources that NCMEC provides. Collaboration is the theme today, I think. So what is the role of DNA in missing and exploited cases? It's twofold. It's for identification, and the identification could be on both living and deceased cases, and also on the investigation, to advance the investigation, to determine evidence of abuse, evidence of exploitation, to provide investigative leads, and ultimately to prosecute the perpetrators. And also I'll talk a little bit about how DNA can be used in trafficking. I won't bore you with scientific details, but just a quick biology recap. DNA, we inherit half from our mother and half from our father. And so you can see here in this family tree, if you look at the individual at the bottom, that individual's DNA is made up of a mix of their ancestors. And when we talk about DNA technology, it's important to know some of the differences that come into play. So when we're normally talking about forensic DNA testing, we're referring to nuclear DNA testing, which is unique to the individual. This would be the gold standard used in forensics that's used in most national databases worldwide. And it is the most powerful test for identification of an individual. Like I said, it's unique to an individual. But sometimes we need to add other technologies based on the availability of family references. And that's when it's important to understand some of the other DNA technologies that can be applied. Sometimes we look at Y chromosome DNA, which would be shared by all male relatives, passed from father to son. So this is important when sometimes we might not have a direct family reference for comparison, but perhaps we have an uncle or a grandfather, and we can look at the family tree and see if this technology would be beneficial in the case. Similarly, we have mitochondrial DNA, which is inherited or passed from a mother to her children. And so though it's not unique to an individual, it can be important, again, for the availability of family references. So when we think about best practices, we have to understand collection of DNA references, samples for comparison, and who is the best to provide a DNA reference. And so this is when it's important to talk with your DNA partners and understand what technology is being used on the case, who we could collect a sample from, and what technology is being used in the databases, how those databases work. Some of the challenges with DNA identification are difficult sample type. Like I said, bones, they're some of the most difficult samples to get DNA from. So we have to apply advanced methods to the samples to get quality results. And then the availability of references for comparison. We can't make the identification without having a reference for comparison, whether that's a direct reference from the individual, you know, a baby tooth that was saved, hair, et cetera, or a family reference. And then we have to really think about the availability of the databases. We might have the unidentified remains profile in one database and the family references were put into a different database, so we may never get that match. So it's important to make sure the DNA searching is happening in as many places as possible, that we're sharing information, that we're collaborating. Interpol is now doing more in this space to compare profiles internationally to maximize the number of comparisons. And then I'll talk a little bit about genetic genealogy, which is an option when you're not having matches in the national database. With forensic investigative genetic genealogy, this has really been a game changer in allowing us to make identifications when those comparisons are not possible in the other databases. So maybe the direct relatives, the parents, the siblings are not available in the databases. We can now expand our search all the way out to third and fourth cousins using some of the direct-to-consumer databases such as Family Tree DNA and GEDmatch that allow law enforcement searches. And what this allows us to do is combine the power of DNA testing with traditional genealogical research to identify an individual. And it leads to more investigative leads. This is specifically allowed for violent crimes and unidentified human remains. It's important that we consider the terms of service in the database. But when other options have failed, there's no matches in the database, DNA testing has been done, this would be a new technology to apply. Another new technology that I wanted to mention is rapid DNA. Rapid DNA makes testing more accessible. It can bring DNA testing into the field. These rapid DNA instruments were designed for point of collection testing by non-technical personnel. So it essentially brings the lab out to the field. You can put the swab in the machine and have a profile out in 90 minutes. And this allows DNA to really help drive the investigation rather than being used as a back-end tool. Some of the applications for rapid DNA include disaster victim identification and family reunification, as well as combating human trafficking. So one project that we were involved in related to human trafficking was that of the human trafficking along the southwest border of the United States. So from 2018 to 2019, there was a surge in families crossing the southwest border. And there was also an increase in fraudulent family relationship claims. So this project started in 2019, and over 3,000 cases were tested. This was comparing parent and child relationships specifically. And we understand that not all family units are biologically related, but it can still be a tool used as part of the investigation. And through this project, we found that 8.5% of the cases that were tested were actually negative for the claimed parent-child relationship. So it can be a really powerful tool, like I said, fighting human trafficking. I wanted to include a case example, one that we have done with NCMEC. Michelle mentioned the forensic artists. They really are incredible, as you can see here. This was a case of a 1999 John Doe from the state of Georgia. The DNA was tested and there was no match in the database. Through the work of the artist, there was a lead from a caretaker who had seen the image and provided a tip to law enforcement. Law enforcement provided the DNA sample from the father to Bodie to make the comparison. And in July of 2022, we were able to identify the John Doe as William Deshaun Hamilton. And this information then allowed law enforcement to arrest the mother in his disappearance. Another case example that we had with NCMEC and where the DNA technology can be applied was a cold case from 1976, referred to as Woodlawn Jane Doe. And in this case, female remains were recovered. She had been beaten, strangled, and raped. And there were a few personal items recovered, but there were no leads to identify her. So in 2006, through one of the collaborative case reviews that we did with NCMEC, Bodie began DNA testing on the case. And we developed a profile, but there were no matches in CODIS. And investigators were spending hours and hours on this case, pursuing so many different technologies, including pollen analysis. And still there was no identification. And it speaks to the power of forensic genetic genealogy, because when this technology came about, it led to a quick resolution of the case. In 2020, we reopened the case, looked at it from a genetic genealogy perspective. We were able to upload DNA results into the genealogy databases, into Family Tree DNA and GEDmatch. And it led to the identification of Margaret Federoff, who had been killed when she was 16 years old. So 45 years later, she was identified through this technology when other DNA testing had been unsuccessful. So again, with best practices, as we talk about DNA, all DNA testing is not equal. different tests, different types of DNA tests are going to work differently in each case. And so that's where it's important to collaborate with your DNA partners, understand the technology, how it's applied, what's already been done, and what could be done next to maximize the leads and identifications. And that's all I had for today. I'll be happy to answer any questions. If anyone has any, you can contact me here. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Erin. Truly impressive, really impressive information and practice, my gosh. We will move now to the next presentation because we're running a little bit late and I don't want to hold all of our international speakers. We're going to move to Jean-Philippe Note, Digital Intelligence Specialist at Celebrite. He's worked on 200 cases of child exploitation with different police in Europe. Designer and creator of Log P2P software to detect child pornography used by French, Swiss, Monaco, and Belgium police. 2 children have been identified in his career that were saved using their technology. So Jean-Philippe, thank you, and the floor is yours.
And hello, everyone. I'm so happy to share with you this presentation, and it's so important for us, this partnership with NCMEC. So I will share with you what we have currently, and the problem is, of course, when you have a mobile device, you have to face encrypted app, you know, Snapchat, Signal, etc., and we don't have time. Remember, the goal is to save lives, and sometimes we have to face extraction time, the volume of data, because of course the guys have a ton of data, many videos, and if you don't have the technology, you don't have enough data to prove that this guy is guilty, or at least to identify a kid or someone, I would say, something that could be, you know, interesting for the case. So really, it's this is the challenge. And so we create a program called C2C, Celebrate Case to Closure, that indeed regroup all our technology to bring, I would say, to bring the truth as fast as the technology allowed us. So indeed, we base that on 3 parts. Celebrate Insight, that we are going to deep dive. Of course, in 10 minutes, we cannot rebuild the world, but at least we can share what we can do quickly. Then Guardian. Guardian is how to share information. And then Pathfinder. Pathfinder, when you have, 10, 12, 20 device, computer, etc., we group that together and we try to extract the data and try to see, hey, what happened at this time or at this location, and bring that together. So this is the global program, what we call Celebrate Case to Closure. So indeed, and if we focus about insight, what is it? First, we need to extract the data, and sometimes we need to unlock, okay? Because the guys has forgotten his password, you know, it happens all the time. He click on his phone twice per second, but suddenly he doesn't remember his passcode. So indeed, we need to have the technology to unlock the phone. Second, we need to extract the content of the phone, but as said, you have encryption challenges. And so we need to decode and to review. So we have indeed in Insight, we have what we call physical analyzer, PA, and even if the law allowed us to extract the data from the cloud. And by the way, because we are trying to, to centralize everything, if it's doable, we have what we call commander that maintains the integrity of all these endpoints. So indeed, with Insight, we try really to deliver as fast as possible the information. And even, during the extraction phase, we can already say that we have some information. This is what we call triage. Triage allowed us to definitely quickly say, okay, this phone is worth to go to deep analysis, or this phone, you don't have anything, it's not worth continuing the investigation. So we have a limited time. Remember that the goal is to save lives, and sometimes it's critical to do as fast, but fast means also good. Okay, so this is the challenge. And we can add a layer, what we call automation. So what does it mean here? It means that we try to indeed to optimize the time between we extract and then we analyze, and we try to group that together to make what we call a streamline, so to produce a report that could be acceptable to a judge. Remember, the challenge is that the laws are different for each country. What is accepted in one country could not be accepted in another. So this is the challenge we have to face. And so the goal with Insight is to bring more and more evidence which is completely readable for everyone with a high efficiency. So what does it mean here? It means that our technology allows to retrieve, information to, of course, to prove some, the guys, for instance, has been paid in crypto. We can definitely use, of course, AI to be more efficient. An example is media classification. So we will identify very quickly if, a kid is here and, for instance, if we have child pornography, we can identify quickly that the guy is nude or he has some explicit sexual position, etc. And we add an extra layer of investigation. For instance, guessing if this picture of this video has been made by the phone we analyze. So this is critical for the case. We can prove with our technology, okay, this guy has used his phone, not another phone, his phone to make this picture. Okay, so it's not, hey, I receive it from someone else. So this technology is just unique and amazing. So, of course, we need also to extract, and the goal is to make it simple. Okay, education is the key, but also we try to make the technology simple for everyone. And by the way, we have, with this Insight, quickly some information. For instance, you know that this guy, or the crime has been made using Telegram or Snapchat, and we try to guess if this phone has a Snapchat or not. Okay, if he doesn't have Snapchat, okay, we don't have time, let's move on to another phone, etc., etc. So indeed, we try to retrieve, almost in real time, as much data as we can, so that to avoid, analyzing everything and losing time, especially when the life of a kid is involved. But, with everything, okay, we try again to instead of doing manual workflow, to multiply the human resources that we do not have, we try to regroup everything and to automate the process. But here, we are also, and this is very important, we are human, okay? Which means here, each of these guys, okay, Heather Mahalik, Ian Whiffin, Paul Lawrence, Ronan Engler, Josh Hickman, myself, Jared Berner, we have more than 20 years of experience each. Okay, so it means the human, okay, when assisting the different police all over the world, we bring this experience all together. So it means that's why we call the Dream Team, because indeed we join our force, I would say, our capability, not only on the technical point of view, but also on the human point of view. We put the human in the center of everything. So it means the technology is here, but we bring also our experience. When I solve about 200, 400 cases, using child pornography, detecting, or, saving a kid, when it's happening, it's a miracle. And, I'm so happy to really to be able to have even save one. Here we have two, but, it's not enough. I completely agree, it's never enough. But at least these two kids are out of this I would say this horrible word, and horrible is too weak, I would say, is too weak. We have created a dedicated email address called Missing Kids at Celebrate.com. It's used, if you have a case, if you have anything we can assist in, please use this email. It means that, I'm working for Europe, but all the other guys are in US. Some guys are, on the Western coast. So it means that indeed in 24 hours, you will have an answer. We will covering almost 24 hours a day. So in case of emergency, use this email address, you will have an answer. So I try to keep the schedule. So thank you really very much for your hospitality and for having this opportunity to present.
Philippe, for a very vivid and personal and passionate presentation. Very, very interesting. Thank you very, very much. I will now move to our next presenter from Tremont, France. Theos Eugeniu is co-founder and Chief Innovation Officer at Tremont. Mr. Eugeniu is also professor at INSEAD in France since 2001. He's the director of the INSEAD Executive Education Program on Transforming Your Business with AI and has been working on machine learning and AI for the past 25 years on areas ranging from AI innovations for business process optimization and improving decisions in marketing and finance to AI regulation, as well as on new machine learning methods. His research has appeared in many leading journals. Professor Eugeniu has also been a member of the OECD Network of Experts on AI, an advisor. Together with 3 INSEAD alums, he founded Tremont, a B2B SaaS company whose mission is to build a digital world that is safe and beneficial for all. I will stop there, Dr. Eugeniu, because it's too much and we want to hear you. And I know I've delayed you a little bit. I know you had another, we can't hear you. The floor is yours.
Can you hear me? Yes?
Yes, now we can.
Thanks very much, PG, and sorry to send you a long bio. It's, first of all, a real honor to be here, and of course, like everybody else, and I must say it's very humbling to be here. I've been participating over the years in many different communities that work in many different types of projects and initiatives. I don't think it's often, if not it's unique in this case, the case to see a community which has such an amazing purpose, emotional connection, and wonderful spirit. So first of all, thank you very much for all this wonderful spirit, energy, and mission and purpose. And of course, as we know, purpose drives everything. Briefly, as PG said, I've been working in the space of technology and organizations and society, largely around the space of AI, but not only, and then also the online world for the past 25 years or so. And most of the time, much like everybody else developing technologies, including the internet people and the AI people, machine learning people, for many years, maybe until 10 years ago or so, or less, I don't think I ran into many people that have been considering the potential negative effects of these technologies. And now we know that this can be quite a lot, both online and with AI nowadays. Obviously, we don't want to pause technology innovation. We want to support technology innovation and make sure it's good tech. However, we have to make sure that is the case and we manage all the risks. And with that in mind, and with this personal journey, the mission, also personal mission in many ways, was, as he said, to try to participate in this global effort to make sure that the digital world we are building, but also the physical world, because the two, of course, are intertwined, is safe and beneficial for all, which is exactly the mission of Tremont, which comes out as, in a sense, also part of the result of this 25 years journey of myself, but also of my co-founders. So Tremont is, just briefly, is a 2.5 almost years old company based in France, but very international, around the globe, with people around the globe. We are fundamentally a B2B software as a service, enterprise software, helping platforms, trusted flaggers, and NGOs, hotlines, helplines, to manage the vast flow of potentially dangerous information, if you like. And we also provide advisory services that go around best practices to do so for trust and safety operations, but also in terms of compliance with the upcoming regulations like the Digital Services Act. Our main philosophy in how we approach this problem is very much aligned with what we've heard so far. As you know better than I do, this is a very global, complex problem that takes a village to solve, a global village to solve. So our philosophy is based on a couple of key pillars. To begin with, that we need to collectively work to ensure the safety of people online and offline, while of course always respecting all human rights. We have to make sure that all the processes we follow are efficient, speed matters, time matters, as we know, effective, with fair process, which is very important for the engagement and buy-in of people and the involvement of everybody, of course now with compliance with regulations, and provide complete solutions, both with our solutions and in partnerships within other players in the ecosystem. That's our pillar number 3 in terms of our philosophy. And of course, we are a technology company. We believe in technology, and our pillar number 4 in our approach is to leverage the latest technologies to achieve a purpose, in this specific, the purpose of making the world a better place in terms of safer and beneficial for all. So we leverage always the latest technologies, whether it's AI or large language models, Gen AI, and the likes. Now, I'll focus a lot on the first one, which is to collectively ensure the safety. And I've heard many times during these fantastic talks and presentations the question of how do we coordinate, how do we ensure things don't fall between cracks, how do we ensure speed, how do we ensure collaboration and coordination. And that's really the pillar number 1, as you see here, in a way which is efficient, pillar number 2. Because it takes a lot of players, there is a lot of players online, lots of users, law enforcement, trusted flaggers, helplines, hotlines, you name it, regulators.
That's on his side.
I think we have a connection issue. He got cut off. Dr. Vianu.
Hello?
Yes, now we can hear you again. You got stuck for just a couple of seconds.
Sorry.
Okay.
I was saying, and then there's lots of people involved in the platforms, in any platform, in any organization, engineers, policy people, data scientists, product people, legal, etc., etc. So our goal is to bring all those together and work with both the private sector, with the platforms online, where lots of things are happening, and with the non-private sector and with NGOs. For example, in order to achieve our mission based on the philosophy I described. So our primary solution is an end-to-end, simple to integrate, simple to use solution where we integrate also very efficiently and effectively third-party tools, the latest AI detection tools, the latest Gen AI tools, the latest quality control management solutions, in order to help our clients and the platforms and the NGOs we work with to best manage the immense flow of information that they have to manage online to ensure safety of children, but also any other kind of online trust and safety challenges. And that's the centralized platform that helps do so. We worked already, for example, this can be connected with other solutions. For example, we have worked from early days with Ian Fonds, which is an organization in France that supports children's safety and well-being. So where our solution is, we partner with a local large telco company, Orange, global company, I'm sure many of you know. And Orange developed a smartphone application that is connected directly to our platform that children are using, and also parents and teachers and others are using in order to communicate efficiently and effectively and get support very fast any potential issue they see. We already have in the first 2 years of operation for this specific organization in France, more than 55,000 cases from children managed. The peak was about 400 cases in a day of all sorts of cyberbullying or any negative relations. Of course, anything, of course, related to potentially missing. Hopefully, we don't have many of those, of course. And this is something that a combination, I guess, as I said, with partners like Orange, a telco company, and our solution, which relies on the philosophy I mentioned, can help nationwide. It's a nationwide initiative in France. In fact, it was kind of driven by Macron, more or less, at the top of the country, help kind of ensure the safety and well-being of children in France. We're very keen to do this in other places of the world, in other countries, with other organizations. So please reach out if there is interest in working with us on this for different organizations. Again, NIMA is the name of our platform, the main platform, but we have also other services, as I briefly mentioned. It's a single platform to manage the trust and safety operations and, in general, the online volume of potential incidents in a centralized place to integrate with internal and external partners and technologies. very low cost to implement, very adaptive and flexible to make sure that it adjusts to the requirements of the using organization and of the environment and of the requirements, and always now keeping in mind the regulations that, of course, play a very important role in how we collectively ensure safety and well-being online, which of course translates into safety and well-being offline, as we all know, given how much time the children spend online and what's happening online between the interactions among them, but also interactions between them and adults. That's all, and I'll be very happy to connect with anybody interested to work together. As I said, this is like coming from decades of thinking in some ways about how to make sure technologies are for the benefit of the world. And we are very mission-driven, much like everybody around the table, which is wonderful to see. Please reach out anytime you wish. Thank you very much. Thank you, PG, for putting this together. It's fantastic.
Thank you, Theo. Thank you very much. We listen to you with interest, and we will reach out. I will now like to ask Sigurdur Ragnarsson, I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly, CEO of Identifier. Mr. Ragnarsson is an experienced expert in hash technology and a recognized industry speaker. He has managed and led Identifier's relationships with NCMEC, Interpol, and other influential companies in our industry. He comes from Iceland. Siggi, the floor is yours. We can't hear you. We're just trying to...
Hello. Okay. Here I am.
Super.
Thank you very much. Okay. So, good afternoon or good evening, everyone. I'm delighted to be here with you today. My name is Sigurdur Ragnarsson, and I have the privilege of being the CEO of Identifier. And today, we are going to dive into an important topic, use of hash matching technology for the effective identification of CSAM videos. So let's start by introducing us. So we are a company that was founded in 2008, and Identifier emerged as a spin-off from the University of Reykjavik in Iceland. And at the heart of our work, we developed a groundbreaking technology capable of identifying known images and videos. So what sets our technology apart is its ability to recognize these media files even after they've undergone a significant modification. And a key strength of our solution is its efficiency. So we specialize in swiftly identifying videos, capable of searching through vast video collections in just a fraction of a second. And this level of speed and accuracy is a cornerstone of our technology. And one of our most critical applications is in the fight against CSAM. And our technology plays a vital role in identifying and curbing the spread of such content. Now, let's talk about the challenges of reviewing harmful video content. So reviewing harmful content, whether it's in the form of videos or images, is a challenging and often distressing task for analysts. And however, reviewing harmful videos is notably more demanding than images due to their length and complexity. First, reviewing videos is time-consuming. You cannot review a video in a few seconds. And this extended review time required for videos not only increases the potential for psychological harm to analysts, but also compounds the intensity of the experience due to the combination of moving images and sound. And this immersive nature of videos often results in greater distress for the analysts. Additionally, the sheer increase in video content presents a significant and growing challenge for those responsible for content moderation. Now, NCMEC deals with a lot of harmful images and videos, and they quickly realized that hash matching would be a key success factor in managing the volume of content. Several years ago, they turned to us to address the challenges involved in video hash matching, and we have been working closely with NCMEC since then. And I have to say that our work together has been quite successful. Now, to give you an idea of the scale of the challenge that the NCMEC cyber tip line faces, in 2022, more than 87 million images and videos were uploaded to NCMEC. And of these, the total number of videos was close to 38 million. So that's more than 104,000 videos every day. But by leveraging advanced hash matching, NCMEC can quickly detect previously identified content, which not only streamlines the detection of known harmful content, but also significantly mitigates the risk of analysts' repeated exposure to this traumatic material. It goes without saying that hash matching plays a crucial role for content detection at NCMEC. NCMEC operates what is likely the largest hash database of known CSAM in the world, and this database is crucial in the global fight against child exploitation. And on a daily basis, an immense volume of files numbering in the tens of thousands is scanned against this database. And this process is vital for verifying whether new material matches any known CSAM. And this hash database is not just large, it's integral to case processing at NCMEC. It enables swift identification of known content, which is critical for timely case processing and victim support. And as previously mentioned, one of the significant benefits of using this database is the reduction in analysts' exposure to the harmful content. And this is a key consideration for their mental health and well-being. For processing videos, the video hash matching technology has advanced to a point where short clips and even screenshots from existing videos can be identified. And this enhances the ability to detect CSAM even when content is edited or altered, ensuring that harmful material doesn't evade detection. And as I mentioned a number of times before, the hash database by NCMEC is a critical asset in the fight against CSAM. However, not identifying content can be important as well, because when a piece of content doesn't match anything in the NCMEC database, it typically indicates one of two possibilities. The material is either not relevant, or it might represent new and undocumented CSAM. And this distinction is key, as it allows NCMEC to direct their attention to potentially new abuse material. By zeroing in on what has not been identified, they can uncover fresh instances of abuse and take the necessary action. And then unmatched content presents an opportunity to reveal new cases and therefore plays a crucial role in its investigative efforts. Finally, I'll leave you with a thought. Given NCMEC's success in utilizing advanced hash matching for identifying known CSAM, what if other hotlines in the world and law enforcement agencies had access to the same hash matching technology as NCMEC does? And what if those entities could easily utilize the NCMEC hash matching database to improve their matching capabilities? And finally, what if the hotlines and law enforcement agencies worldwide could collaborate on creating the largest and best CSAM hash matching database in the world? I think that this is something worth pursuing, and I strongly believe that this could be a huge step forward in streamlining case management and work towards eradicating the spread of this harmful material. I think that the pursuit of this is not just worthwhile, it is imperative for the safety of the children worldwide. Thank you for your attention. And do not hesitate to contact me if you are interested in learning more. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Siggi, for also posing questions and food for thought for us. Thank you for your presentation. I'd like now to move to the next presenter, Anne-Marie Brockmoller from the Netherlands. My pronunciation, I'm sure, was not very good. She will present to us the Aviator Project, a tool for triaging NCMEC referrals. It's a tool that law enforcement in Europe use to download and handle cyber tips. So Anne-Marie, the floor is yours. Thank you very much for being patient. Sorry for the small delay.
No worries. Thank you very much, and good evening from the Netherlands. It's all been said, and I feel the same. It's humbling to be among such a group of amazing experts. And luckily, a lot of the things that are involved in the Aviator project have already been explained, so I can skip some of the details also to save some time. I work for a company called WebIQ, based in the Netherlands, and our expertise is in OSINT and software development. And we've always had a special place for projects that are in the domain of combating online child abuse. And for that, we always try to find the best partners. And EU funding has been a great platform for partnering with people providing other experience and expertise. So I think the Aviator project is a great example of it. The Aviator project deals with the large number of referrals that come through NCMEC. Michel Delon already explained that is only one of many tasks fulfilled by NCMEC in the field of child protection. But it is also one of the main sources of tips that reach law enforcement. They may get leads from other investigations, they may do proactive online research, but they also get a large number of tips. And NCMEC reports, referrals or cyber tips, I may use those terms interchangeably. They have, in the past, they have led to or provided very important clues into many, many investigations. The main problem that Aviator tries to address is that those very important leads may be buried among many other cyber tips that are, for instance, images going viral or unidentifiable offenders. I'll show you what the project does with that. Aviator is actually in its second round of funding. It was started in January 2019 with 6 of the 7 partners that you see here. And it was initiated by 2 law enforcements who were both facing a big mountain and a backlog of NCMEC referrals. They came to us and they said, can you help us? So one of the very interesting things is that we've had what we call them the problem owners involved in this from the start, which means they had a very big say in the development. We are also very happy to have InHope on board, who are the International Association of Hotlines, providing another source of tips, often to the police, those coming from the public. The 2 technology partners are WebIQ, the company I work for, that is focused on OSINT mostly, and Zeus, another Dutch company who focus on the visual intelligence. That means that they do most of the image and video analysis. We also have 2 academic partners, a German Institute for AI and a legal partner, because as we found out, especially during the first part of the project, there are many, many legal aspects coming to the table. At the start of the project, we had interviews with about 20 law enforcements in Europe, asking them how they currently process NCMEC reports. One of the things we found out very soon is that a lot of them had no system in place whatsoever to deal with those referrals. In fact, the most often mentioned system was Microsoft's Excel for keeping track of those. So the whole plan of building very advanced AI, we had to take a big step back and make sure that they had the basics in place to start processing those reports. We call those law enforcement that were interested in joining or starting to test from the beginning and also having a say in the development. They joined us as what we call affiliate law enforcement. They don't receive any funding, but they receive free access to the tool in exchange for their feedback. Now, Aviator is not just a tool. Aviator is also a community. So we organize, for instance, peer-to-peer learning events where those law enforcement can speak to each other and discuss problems they face and challenges, and also learn from each other what are the new trends or what are good ways and best practices of handling those cyber tips. I skipped one. Hang on. That was very fast. So, briefly mentioned already, the main motivation for the project is that those countries are receiving so many reports that most of them were dealing with those first in, first out. They had growing backlogs and they didn't know what they are missing. Now, I have to say that if NCMEC becomes aware of an urgent situation where they can tell or they suspect that a child is in imminent danger, they contact those law enforcement directly. What we are dealing with here is mostly uploads, images that are being uploaded, for instance, on social media, cloud storage, messengers, for instance. So we're talking about Tinder, about Discord, about Dropbox, about Pornhub. Any online service provider could encounter online child abuse material, potential online child abuse material on their platform. When they see it, they have the obligation to report it. I believe there's hefty fines if they miss and don't report. So we see that some of those platforms tend to choose the safe side and also report if they're not sure. It's also known that detection is becoming much better. There are plans for a European center. People are reporting more. So basically the number of reports is growing consistently. One of the ways in which we heard that the number of reports is growing, that is some providers can already detect known child abuse material during the upload. That generates a NCMEC referral, which is forwarded to the law enforcement. And if a user uploads 10 videos, that generates 10 reports. There are many initiatives that help cluster reports, for instance, that are related to the same user. But we also have to provide a system at the end of the flow to make sure that law enforcement can group related reports, and most importantly, to help them find the most urgent reports quickly. So what does the system actually entail? It helps law enforcement with part of the process. I mentioned interviews at the start. We found out that most of them follow a similar process. I'm mostly talking about European law enforcement at this time. Whenever they receive a NCMEC cyber tips, and they can receive those either directly from NCMEC or through Europol, they first check whether it actually contains something that is illegal. Remember that NCMEC cyber tips are based on US law. That means that not everything is necessarily illegal in the country that receives the reports. Then the second one is, does it actually contain enough information to start an investigation? Unfortunately, if there's not enough information to identify an offender, there's also no case to be pursued. That does mean, of course, that if there is a victim that can be identified, that process will, of course, be followed. But there will not be a case started against an offender. So based on those two aspects, they may or may not start an investigation. So you have to keep in mind that there are countries that are receiving about 12,000 reports a year that land on the desk of a single investigator. So you can imagine the problems of capacity that arise. As a side note, we've done some digging in the numbers that NCMEC publish on their website, and the numbers seem to be roughly proportional to the population, with the exception of some countries. For instance, China doesn't receive many, but they basically have a separate internet from ours, but roughly the same. And I don't think there's any country that did not receive any NCMEC cyber tip at all. So it is truly a global issue. So the system is basically a simple database. We enrich all the reports with, for instance, by providing cross-matching capabilities, but also by deduplicating images. I briefly mentioned virals. If an image is shared a lot, that can cause hundreds of referrals. And by deduplicating the images, somebody who assesses the images at the law enforcement has to look at the image only once and classify the image only once. Luckily, NCMEC also mentioned in the previous presentation has a huge database of known material. So the referrals that are received at the law enforcement usually contain enough information to distinguish the virals from the start. In some countries, those are still technically illegal, and law enforcement may be obliged to open a case anyway. I think one of the main issues that we have run into in the project, I would have to say that technology is not the problem. The most issues that we run into is the differences in legislation between all the countries, the bureaucracy, the impact assessment that has to be done before they can start using a new database. So there's quite a lot of red tape. And a very sad issue that we run into is that quite some investigators have difficulty convincing their management of the need of such a database. So these are two screenshots from the demonstration environment of the system. There's two workflows that are built in because most law enforcement have two departments who work with these reports. One is the victim identification specialist who starts by looking at the images, finds out if there's potential new material and victims to be identified. The other ones are we call this the report first workflow. Those are basically the investigators who start locating and identifying the offender, so the uploader, so to say. Aviator is free for law enforcement, and it runs on a very simple system. I mentioned in the beginning that a lot of the law enforcement had no system in place whatsoever. A lot of them also don't have the funds to buy new hardware. So we have made the system so that it runs on very simple systems. I said it is free, but it is free in exchange for feedback and attendance of the meetings that we organize. Then lastly, the project also publishes annual reports. They contain background information about the project. We also try to generate some insights and numbers because we know that, for instance, the number of reports that are provided by the online service providers is not always the same as the number of reports that lands on a desk or consistent with the workload that they face. For instance, because of the difference in what is illegal, for instance, because viral material has already been filtered out, but also because of the current backlog. So basically, if you are running behind, your current workload will still be growing. We also address the role of technology and many of the challenges that we face. So you can get your copy. We've had two. We are busy preparing the third from the project website, which is aviatorproject.com. Would you be interested in a demo? You'll also find the contact details there. That's all from me. Thank you very much.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Anne-Marie. Most interesting. And we make note of the website as well. Thank you. Thank you very much for all this information shared. We have two presentations remaining before we complete our event. The next presentation comes from Belgium, from Missing Children Europe. Actually, there are three presenters in this joint presentation because it refers to a project that Missing Children Europe is leading, but it involves various partners. So the first speaker is Teresa Ryan Rouget, Senior Project Officer and Focal Point on Sexual Abuse at Missing Children Europe. Teresa is a human rights lawyer specializing in the protection of children online. Her professional experiences have been gathered through her international law firm experience, NGO work, academia, and extensive field work in many African countries. Recently, she was appointed as a Lanzarote Convention Rapporteur for the Council of Europe. The second speaker for the Cesagram project presentation is Gianluca Schiavo, researcher at FBK Italy. He's a user experience researcher at Fondazione Bruno Kessler in Trento, Italy. His research is centered on the design, development, and assessment of collaborative, social, and accessible technologies. And our third presenter is George Kalpakis, Senior Research Associate at ITI, CERT here in Greece. Mr. Kalpakis received the degree in Applied Informatics and the MSc in Computer Systems and Applied Informatics from the University of Macedonia in Greece. He's a Senior Research Associate at ITI CERT, participating in several European projects in the domain of civil security. His research interests focus on graph theory and data mining based on AI technologies, including social network analysis, as well as web and social media search and mining for security applications. He has co-authored a number of publications and referred journals and international conferences, and has translated several computer science academic books into Greek. So the floor is yours. Teresa, I believe you go first. Thank you very much.
Good evening, everybody from Brussels, Belgium. Okay, I really have to reiterate what's been said before me, but it's such a humbling experience to see how the work that has been done, obviously, by NCMEC and all of the presentations that have been set out here this evening for me in Brussels. It's amazing to see that we're all working on the global protection model, but in very much in the same space, but in very much a different approach. But we are all aligning, so that's what's very gratifying. So I'm extremely humbled to be at the end of this set of presentations. But yes, so basically, as PE said, thank you again, PE, for organizing an extraordinary event. It's been very interesting and very big learning process. So basically, Sessagram, obviously the gram part stolen from Instagram because we wanted people to remember it. Sessagram is basically a comprehensive European strategy against grooming and missing, funded by the European Union and by the Oak Foundation. But as you've all so rightly pointed out this evening, starting with NCMEC and all of the other presentations, there is a serious issue at the moment in terms of CSAM Online, as this project is particularly devoted and dedicated to identifying the link between grooming and missing, but of the online grooming and missing of children. It's we all know that child sexual exploitation refers to the sexual abuse of a person before the ages of 18, as well as to the production of images of such abuse and the sharing of those images online. It's a Europol priority, 2022-2025, and grooming, as we all know, probably in this conference, is where an individual builds a relationship, trust, and emotional connection with a child or young person in order to manipulate, exploit, and abuse them. Online grooming is when this process, as we know, is facilitated partially or entirely by the internet or other wireless communications. So that is why Sessagram was really set up. We can all quote the figures from NCMEC, from Thorn, but it was just it takes one request to open that door. Sessagram, it's actually a 2-year project, began in January 2023. It is ending the end of this year in December 2024. I'm very privileged to work with 11 consortium partners, including the Smile of the Child, where it's such a vibrant consortium. It's a mixture of obviously Smile of the Child and their extremely world-renowned expertise, but we've got academia at KU Leuven, we've got the Hellenic Police, we've got the Ministry for Justice, we've got the Marie Collins Foundation from the UK, and of course we've got FBK from Italy, and we have CERT, who are working on the very important component of the AI tool. So Sessagram is basically...
Teresa, sorry for interrupting. This is George. You may have forgotten to set the slides because we cannot see any slides at this moment.
Oh, really? Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Can you see? Can you see?
Yes, now we can see. It's not in full screen though. It's not in presentation mode. I mean, yeah. Now it's fine, and you have to move to, I guess, to the correct. I don't know if this is the correct slide. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, George. So basically, the focus of Sessagram is to identify key indicators of grooming along with relevant legislation and regulatory framework, pinpointing good practices and potential barriers. The design, of course, Sessagram is really looking to facilitate and to understand why grooming happens online. And obviously, I just need to see that. So we are looking to try to understand the operational capabilities of the end users. I'm having a slight technical issue, so I'm just going to, my apologies for that. So it doesn't seem to be working for me. So is that okay if I just continue? I'm almost finished because I have Gianluca and Gustavo coming after me. So basically, we are looking to identify the key risk indicators. We're looking at designing the AI-based tools as well as the gamification platform for school users. So I'm going to pass the baton over to you, Gianluca, and you can take over from here.
Thank you very much, Teresa. Can you still keep the screen because I will not be able to do that.
Can you see?
I don't see it. I don't see it, but I don't know if it's just me. Okay, now we see it. Okay, thank you. If you can go to the presentation full screen. Okay, but actually, yeah, as Teresa was mentioning, in this project, we are also targeting the creation of training and awareness tools for grooming and child sexual abuse prevention. And these entail, on one side, the creation of the educational curriculum for addressing child sexual abuse, and also linking this with connection with missing persons issues. And we are also developing a digital platform that includes gamification elements. So one of the challenges is also try to use this approach of gamification in sensitive topics such as CSA. And the last one would be also the implementation of a training program for law enforcement professionals for supporting the activities in the field. For starting from this, next slide, sorry. Starting from this this experience, well, we used an approach, a co-design approach. So we had a number of workshops and co-design workshops, including also the support of Missing Children Europe, CCF from Italy, the Smile of the Child, and Missing Persons Family Support Center in Lithuania. And we also had a survey with 74 professionals for investigating their practice and also their attitude toward using technology and gamification practices and playful education practices in their educational activities. These activities helped us to identify some guidance for the educational intervention. These guidelines are in the next slide and are reporting like starting from using stories and concrete cases, focusing on emotions, and try to report about the strategies and not only the dangers of related to grooming and sexual abuse, and also we had the important things of supporting peer support and deal with disclosure and triggering that can also be an important part that to be considered in the implementation of educational intervention. Then we also had some through the surveys, especially, we went through identifying how we can use gamification also in this respect. For sure, one of the first things was to identify the challenges in using gamification, like trivializing this issue, providing distractions, and these are what the respondents provided. But we also, they also helped us in identifying what are the positive and potential positive side of using gamification for child sexual abuse education program, prevention programs. These are, for example, reporting and supporting, promoting behavioral change, creating a safe reporting environment, and also our professionals highlighted the fact that it's important that there is a crucial role of having the professionals also to managing these activities. So it's something that we are going to integrate and we are going to have in our platform. And then the last one is the other another important aspect is to support collaboration. So having to support also collaboration through young people and collaboration with their educators, parents, and first-line professionals for supporting in educational activities. So that's why we are also investigating the use of gamification as a way of supporting this form of collaboration. Okay, I will now leave the floor to George for discussing the Sesagram tools for the toolkit that is targeted to professionals.
Okay, thank you very much, Gianluca. So I'm George Kalpakis, representing the Information Technologies Institute from the Search for Research and Technology Hellas, located in Thessaloniki, Greece. It's a great honor to be here with you in this event. Thank you very much for the invitation. I will try to be as quick as possible because I think we have already exceeded our timeline. Sesagram contains a powerful toolkit based on artificial intelligence technologies with a goal to support law enforcement open source intelligence purposes in order to identify and detect content which has grooming related content. So there is a toolkit which consists of three main parts. The first one is monitoring of online spaces for grooming related content. This is based on social media and web. We also have linguistic analysis for the detection of grooming activities. And finally, an AI-based risk assessment tool for decision support and early warning generation. Next slide, please. So the first part of our tool is the tools that are capable of automatically gathering content from online resources. The goal, our target here is only publicly available content on social media and the web. Social media platforms that have been provided to us by domain experts and by the domain experts of the Hellenic Police, where they have identified in the past, based on their expertise and experience, perpetrators of grooming. So currently, we support Twitch and YouTube. Actually, several platforms related to gaming have been indicated by the Hellenic Police as potential forums where grooming perpetrators may be involved. So here the goal is to gather social media posts, chat logs, information about user accounts and relevant metadata by running keyword-based or account-based searches. On the other hand, we also have capabilities to gather content from the web, from web pages, including forums where we can find that kind of content. And all our components are capable of extracting content and storing it within the toolkit space for supporting the analysis components that follow. Next slide, please. So the main part of the linguistic analysis contains three, let's say, sub modules. The first one is called name identity recognition. So the goal here is to identify specific terms or words that are related to grooming activities. The second part is related to sentiment analysis. So we try to identify within the gathered content, within the gathered social media posts and any type of textual content, the most prominent sentiments based on a set of 7 basic sentiments that you can see on my screen, starting with happiness and including also sadness, angry people, or disgust. And the final linguistic analysis tools contain the authorship analysis, where the goal is to identify whether two seemingly unconnected social media accounts, whether they are associated, meaning that we have the same physical entity behind two different accounts. So we try to use stylometric features so as to identify whether different virtual accounts, social media accounts are associated with the same person and in particular with the same, let's say, person of interest, a potential perpetrator of grooming activities. Next slide, please. And the final step of our analysis on the gathered textual content is the AI-based risk assessment. So here this tool takes advantage of the content gathered from the online monitoring and analyzed by the linguistic analysis tools. We perform a change point detection method by leveraging time series data, meaning, for example, chat logs as they evolve over time. And based on this change point detection, we perform risk analysis. The goal here is to provide a threat level, a risk level to the law enforcement analysts, to the ones that are going to use this platform, with the goal to provide early warnings and support them in decision making. So this is actually a tool where the goal is to help law enforcement agents perform their activities in a much more efficient and effective manner, so that they can identify such content online much faster and more easily than done with conventional methods or tools that they may use so far. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
All three of you, Teresa, Gianluca, and George. Thank you. And thank you also for your patience. Last but not least, we're going to move to our final speaker, presenter today, Ms. Costanza Andreini. She's Public Policy Manager for Meta, overseeing Italy, Greece, Malta, and Cyprus. Ms. Andreini's work focuses on safety issues like cyberbullying, non-consensual sharing of intimate images, youth online protection, and platform integrity, addressing hate speech, disinformation, and harmful content. Costanza holds a bachelor's degree in political science and a master's degree in international relations from Luis University in Rome. Costanza, the floor is yours. Oh, we can't hear you.
You can't?
Now we can. Now we can.
Okay, perfect. So thank you so much, and it's a pleasure to be here, also to join also this year, this important moment, and it's a pleasure to see our long-standing friends from Amoghelo. Our collaboration and in partnership, it's started in 2015, so it has only grown during this year. So it's a pleasure. Thank you so much for the invitation. During all this presentation, we've seen as technology has really improved the way in which we can mitigate risks especially for teens, for children, and the way in which new technological improvements helps to reduce the timing in which people have been found in dangerous situation, or also found when they are missing. And this is a commitment that Meta takes very seriously, because our platform, it's a global one. We have the opportunity, we have the pleasure to host billions of people on our platform, and we also have the responsibility to make all the efforts we can do to preserve the safe, to promote a safer experience for everyone using our platform. That's why our approach to youth safety, especially, it's an holistic one, because we try to combine the power of our community, so having a community of people that are there on the platform, and it also means that they create connection and they create value when something it's wrong and there is a risk for someone. But also that technology empowers people to be even more on the lookout and to resolve problems when they arise. So as you know, we've launched one of the technological tools that assist us in this important commitment, especially for missing children, is Amber Alert. It's a program, it's a global program, created by NCMEC, and which we partner, and our partner in Greece is Amoghelo, that we launched in 2016, and in 2022 we also brought to Instagram. The idea is that our platform is a way in which we can really be helpful if a kid it's missing or it's in a dangerous situation. So for example, Instagram, why it's so important to have something like Amber Alert on our platform, it's because Facebook, it's a global platform that is being used. I know that many times we hear that Facebook is no longer used by people, but actually more than 3 billion people are on Facebook. So it means that when the occasion happens, and clearly it's like it's related to a specific area and there is a specific need, it means that there are many people who can actually give a hand when it's needed. So we thought that Instagram, with his image focus setting, so like the idea that photos are a key component of Instagram, it's a way in which the search for missing kids might also be more effective. So when like Instagram but also Facebook give the opportunity to people to see in the feed when it's needed, in specific and rare occasion in the specific area in which a kid is missing, the photo, the description, the location, and also all the information about the possible abduction of the kids. So we've seen that launching a problem like this on a global platform like us has prevented many cases and mitigated many risks, and help also to save kids from dangerous situations. This is just a part, like an important component on how we work on youth safety, because it's a specific pillar of our activity in specific situations as missing children. When we think about how to preserve and how to protect kids, especially teens, because we have stricted rule on who should be in our platforms, like they should have like a minimum age, 13 years old. It's the minimum age in most of the countries in which they can have the possibility of accessing to our platforms. We implemented many tools and products that help us prevent dangerous situations. It's important to understand the value of working with technological improvement and with AI as well, because of the magnitude in which we operate, with billions again of content and on people posting every day on Meta platforms. So just to give you an idea, and I will be very brief because I know it's been a long day, even though very interesting. I will just wanted to give you like an idea of how much we work and what's the commitment of our effort, like technological improvement on child endangerment on our platform. So for example, just to give you an idea of how much it's important for us that when a content it's published or it's shared on our platform, and it might entail like there is a kids in danger or has been exploited, or there is a grooming activity linked to that, we need to know, we need to be aware of that situation. So how much we value the report of the community, that community that I mentioned at the beginning. It's very important for us because it helps improving our machine learning, so our AI systems. So just to give you some numbers, I will quote it from our community standard enforcement report that we publish every 3 months. Regarding to content of sexual child exploitation, so it means like nudity, but also grooming and exploitation, like in broader terms, we in Facebook from July to September 2023, we've removed from our platform 17.9 millions of content on Facebook, and on Instagram 1.6 millions. Over these two numbers, we identified those content thanks to technology, thanks to artificial intelligence. The 98% of the content that were removed were identified by our technology. So before anyone was reporting those content, so before anyone reported that vulnerable or dangerous situation, it means that we can also not just remove it, but also alerting law enforcement when it was needed, and we managed to have like a proactive action when was needed. This is just a part of how we work. I will not take so much time, but I really want to leave you with the idea that global platforms, we have seen many unbelievable, incredible presentations on how the technology is working and how it's improving the work of experts, of association, of institutional stakeholders. Also for us, it's a foundational part of how we run our business, how we make sure that people are protected. everything can be improved. There is no perfect solution, but I really believe that moment in which we, like this one, in which we see what's the state of the art, what we are doing like collectively as society, but in separate way, it's very important also to improve what we do and to make it like to give that holistic commitment to youth safety. Thank you so much for hosting me.
Thank you very much, Costanza, and a very sincere and warm thank you to all of the presenters today. Thank you also to the audience for patiently waiting and sticking with us to watch all of the interventions. I think that all of the presentations demonstrated how technology is here to help, as Mr. Tsiboukis from Cisco mentioned in the very beginning. And I'd like now to give the floor to Michelle and then to Mr. Yiannopoulos to make just some concluding remarks and conclude this event. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, PE, for the event. And thank you to all of the presenters. It was great to see so many friends, so many people who have been dedicating their time, their talents towards protecting kids. So on behalf of everyone at NCMEC, I say thank you. And certainly, again, thank you to Smile on the Child for bringing all these experts together.
Okay, the idea that bringing together people, expertise, organizations, that they use some kind of technology for the benefit of the children, at the same time, the need of the organizations, of the countries, to use such technology, but without having, let's say, information. This event, I think, proves everybody's idea and feeling that we want to participate. We want to bring together all our resources. And I feel very proud that we managed to this to come true and at the same time being useful for everybody. But this is for the children, of course, and it is for the children. As we can see, technology is working for the children, but unfortunately is working against the children. So we thank you very much. Thank you, you and your partners. And I think we will continue it for the next year and expand it and have technology as a core issue for our work. And have a meeting just for technology. So I think we can discuss about this later.
Thank you to both of you for your concluding remarks, and thank you to everyone for watching. And we wish you a very good, pleasant, safe afternoon and evening. Thank you very much.
Thank you.